Of course, it is Carlton taking on the Brisbane Lions. I tell you what, this is a game. Well, Carlton really want to show a little pride, a little bit of fight in. Can they do it? Well, who knows? We're going to find out not too far away. And of course, Brisbane Lions sitting second on top of the AFL Premiership ladder. It's a game that they certainly want to win as well, folks. Let me just straighten that up a bit. That's certainly a game they want to win. And of course, if they do that, then they will remain in second spot on the AFL Premiership season ladder. Just looking at the ladder where these two teams sit at the moment, the Brisbane Lions sitting there second after played 16 rounds there, 11 wins, 4 losses and a draw, 46 points, 2.5 games behind Collingwood on top of the ladder. And of course, Carlton sitting down there in 12th position after playing 16, 6 wins, 10 losses on 24 points, season over. But they really need to show a little bit of pride in their team and their teammates and their fans, and of course for the coaches as well. The ins and outs of both teams: Alex Chin-Cotter, Corey Durden coming in for the Blue Baggers, going out Blake Acres and Francis Evans. For Brisbane, just the one change: Oscar McInerney, the big ruckman, he's going out for the Brisbane Lions, and coming in Sam Day. There are your team and your team lineups, folks. All right, we are only about a minute away before we get into the game here. Let me just load that up, ready for quarter time, and the stats, there we go. All right, we're only 50 seconds away. I'm going to put the poll up so everyone can put their votes in. Thanks everyone for joining us in here. Thursday night football action, Carlton taking on the Brisbane Lions. We're going to head down to the ground, Albert. How you doing? How you doing? And the commentators will take us all the way into the bounce of the ball for the opening quarter.
This is what's going to be really interesting over this first quarter, boys. We know Brisbane are going to turn up. You mentioned they are absolutely flying at the moment, Dwayne. And as I said, their first quarters have been absolutely elite over their last 3 games. Who is going to stand up for this football club in this first quarter? Or is it going to be lights out in the first quarter? That's going to be the big interesting one for me.
Well, I'm looking at the Brisbane Lions, and I mentioned earlier they love Marvel Stadium. They've won 11 of their last 13 here. They've kicked 100 plus 4 of their last 5. And I'm just going to keep an eye on Charlie Cameron. This star-studded lineup, he's the one that really hasn't got going at any stage this season. Just the 17 goals in 14 games. He kicked over 200 in the previous 4 years, but 3 goals last week. You just wonder if he can get going late in this season and start to find some form. There's just another weapon that Chris Fagan will have coming into the finals time. So has he got a little bit left in the tank? I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on Charlie Cameron, the superstar forward.
I think it's pretty simple for Carlton. We've talked a lot about their top 4 or 5 players, but they're going to need a wild card. You need someone to jump out of the ground and do something they haven't done for a few weeks or this year at all. And I think De Koning is a forward. He's kicked 2 goals in 8 weeks. Now he's going to start forward again tonight. We haven't really seen him provide the presence down there that we expected, just because he's a big target and a big figure. Can he get rolling tonight? Can he be the reason that the Brisbane Lions back 6 look rattled? They're an undersized back 6 tonight. If he can get going, De Koning, then all of a sudden that might help Curnow get into the game, or a lesser matchup. So I think there's a responsibility tonight for this. You know, I call him a young man. He's not young anymore. He's almost 26 years of age. It's time for a big night for the Navy Blues.
Darcy Gardner sub, so it'd be interesting to just see what the matchups look like for the Brisbane Lions down in defence. Does Ryan Lester get the responsibility on Charlie Curnow and they put Big Harris on Tom De Koning? There might be an opportunity. Mitch McGovern, we know, is another one that's looked okay as a forward. I think he'll start there. He was well beaten by Jamie Elliott in the 3rd quarter last week, so the Blues just need to get supply. They just need to get the ball in there and hit some targets. That, of course, has been an issue all season, finishing their work. They're going to get looks, but can they actually find some marks inside? If they get some chances early, they need to finish their plays and see if they can just sort of get a bit of a boost off the back of it and get in this game.
Darcy Gardner sub last week as well.
Looks like Chin-Cotter's gone forward, so maybe that's a tagging role. Is he looking at Zorko? Where's he looking? That'll be a fascination if he is to lock down one, or maybe roll up and be part of an on-ball tag. He might come up to the back of stoppage. Let's wait and see.
So Thursday night football, 12th host second on the AFL ladder, but so many eyes, particularly in the first half an hour, on the team in 12th. Kittenet and Oscar McInerney about to do battle in the middle of Marvel. We're away on a Thursday night. McInerney with the first tap. Chera with the first pickup. Out to Cowan. Flicked it out to Fantasia, who has plenty of room to move out there. That's going to be cut off by Fletcher. He plays on very quickly along the wing. Bailey spilt it. Neil was there for support. Over the top. Working is Dunkley. Out to Neil. Neil throws the boot into it. First foray forward. Carlton with numbers at the back. Morris with a little tap grab by Pitnet. Haynes Wiedering. He's got to be quicker than this. He gets rid of it, but they're still under the pump. Haynes working there with Doherty. Has to dance round his opponent. They exit D50, or do they? The wobbly kick in the air. Cut off by Carroll, and then out to O'Farrell, who was taken ferocious early. The Lions, Lohman takes him out.
Great intensity by the Lions, but gee, a shaky start by the Blues King. And it goes back to Razio Fantasia, starting on a wing, one of their best users, and a poor turnover straight away. So Blues got to get themselves into this contest.
You can see why the Lions are second on the ladder right now. Little knockdown here is Fantasia banging it away. As you mentioned, Joey, he's got a big roll in his Adworth. Looks like Chincotta's gone straight to Hugh McCluggage. Answorth about to send it back in. It's congested in there. Lyman's up there. The big O's up there. Haynes couldn't get it. Bailey bursts his way through, but couldn't find the right side of his boot. So confidence is a beautiful thing, isn't it? He's attacking every drop of ball situation, Zach Bailey, like it's his. He's making the ball his own.
Chris Fagan giving him great plaudits for his 5 goals last week. That kick not convincing at all. Fletcher, Archie, Bailey, first chance for a goal from just inside 50, and it's going to be another behind. So 2 behind to Zach, who's looking very dangerous.
He's absolutely looking dangerous. Mitch McGovern again. That's a poor kick from a senior player. He has gone into defence. He's playing on Charlie Cameron, so they've got a bit of height back there tonight, the Blues.
So Haynes goes wide. Young takes off, just game 3. Hammers it. Boy, it gets front spot. Nicely read. Outread Starcevic, which is hard to do. A bullet, though, is horrible. Zorko cuts it off and headed for game 300. Maybe last home and away game. Dane Zorko, he just keeps on keeping on. Out wide to Cameron, who held his ground magnificently.
He did, with Carroll bearing down on him. Rifles one to Archie. So Archie, frenetic start, into the middle. Neil. And then it was Fletcher receiving it from Dunkley. Starcevic from outside 50. Blazes away with a big boot towards Lohman and coming through with the fist Wiedering.
Yeah, that's outstanding from Wiedering. That's what you want to see from your big bopper down back, to release early, see the high ball and come and support. See, they're aggressive, the Lions. They're looking for corridor at all times. McInerney back into the lineup. Pitnet with him. Knocked down. McCluggage in the congestion. Got it. Also back in for the Blues. Little fumble, Doherty. Feeds it out. Cowan jumped into a jam rather than out of one. Chera was searching for the boundary. Floats it away. Answorth again. Can't mark it this time. Taken by Fogarty. All up. It's clever by Moyer at half forward to just slip to the front on Starcevic and take the mark. Good signs for the Carlton small forward.
Flicked up. McInerney. Narrowly won it down. McCluggage scrapping for it. Cowan wanting the boundary out.
As expected, Dunkley going to play the run with roll on Paddy Cripps, as he's done so often.
McInerney at the front. Just tried to pat it to the advantage of Lohman. Rayner goes in. McCluggage tried to snaffle it. Doherty off a standing start. Going over the top to Coney with the tackle. Came out to Andrews. Dodging and weaving. Neil. So classy. Backtrack Starcevic and goes laterally back into the middle towards Fletcher.
Outstanding season, Fletcher. Missed his target hit, but it might still be okay. Out wide, Young gets it. So Moyer wants it. He's caught, though. Couldn't get it up in time. Good lockdown tackle. It's again back into the corridor very quickly from Brisbane. Carlton lucky to get the clamps on there. 2 rucks get there eventually. Both had a little piece of it, not a decisive piece of it. Lyman comes up to make a contest. Hipwood couldn't handle it. Neil, if he can't handle it, no one can. He's got the best hands in the business. The big stripped. It's a long way down between hand and foot. Thorco, good drop step. Fell though. Got it to Rayner. Caught. Good tackle Williams. He ran out of it though. He shrugged him. Berry. He's almost caught. Fogarty gets it back. Haynes. Doherty. Now the Blues. Williams. Hamill smothered. Dunkley picked his pocket. Gave it to McCluggage. Hands it to Berry. On the fly from 48. Berry's it. They're looking hot, the Lions.
No, they look on. This is Brisbane Lions at their best, Kingy. They just own the forward half game. They lock it in. 6 inside 51. A bit of a scuffle going on. They're trying to, big Oscar McInerney just trying to get into Chincotta. That's what great teams do. He's looking after his superstar mid in McCluggage. But
what about the pressure, Joey? Yeah. I mean, this is outstanding. To win the ball back, and he just can't tackle him. He's like a keg on legs. Rayner, what a wonderful player he's become, but this pressure was just too much. The Dunkley come from nowhere just to cut off that handball. Carlton for a split second looked like they were through, but Brisbane, it's just great play without the footy, and that's what the serious teams in our competition do.
They are on, there's no doubt about that, the Lions. It's all been right of picture at the moment. Pitness, man, concentrating hard with Ford, tried to get it down to Cripps. Doherty goes to assist. Bailey grabs him with also Will Ashcroft and a ball up. Fort thumped it down. Hewitt almost did the 360. Quick kick, Chincotta under pressure, grabbed by Answorth. Really good gather. Fends off his opponent. Then back to Will Ashcroft. Sinks the slipper into it. Up goes Morris. Such a prodigious talent. And it's kept in play. Haynes kept it in, and then Cowan slammed to the umpire. Picked up by Raider. Over the top he goes to Cameron. And Cameron puts it through. And there's going to be a real spotlight on this. Haynes and Cameron go at it.
It's on. And I can see Adam Simpson and John Lamar saying, what is the umpire doing in the corridor where we want to take the footy? He's in the way, he causes the clash, he creates the turnover. It was going to be an easy mark to Cowan, and all of a sudden it's an easy goal to the Lions. And they are hunting hard tonight, sniffing the opportunity, numbers arriving, Carlton fans are not happy. Well, you can't be happy with that.
No, when it's all going against you, it's all going against you. I mean, they don't need this, the Blues. They're scrapping as hard as they can at the moment to stay involved early in this contest, and then for that to happen, flattening for the group. Charlie Cameron up and about early. Blues under the pump.
Yeah, we'll talk about the four-umpire system again coming this week. Thought hammers it away. Cowan, who at least is okay, didn't get injured in the contest, or maybe he's dazed. He's turned it over to Dunkley, who slams it long. Eric had the height and the reach, and was never in trouble there. Well, they're turning the ball over at will, Carlton. They just cannot kick the footy. It's like
13 kicks, Kingy, 4 of them have hit the target out of their first 13.
Got a foreign body, isn't it? It's quite bizarre. Most problems off half-back at the minute. He'll play his 200th game in a few weeks, the same game that Dane Zorko will play his 300th. Kick 1-1 from 9 possessions against Port last week, Eric Hipwood. And now he's on the ball.
Right, so this is the first real test for the leaders now. Okay, it hasn't gone to plan. First 15 minutes, nothing's gone right. This is where you want to see them get together. Paddy Cripps, get his boys in. Okay, let's just worry about this next centre bounce. We can't worry about anything that's happened. Let's get this game going our way. So I'd be really, as a leader now, getting together, finding a way. I mean, that kick, it happened to youngsters under the roof at Marvel. Sometimes the ball just travels a little bit further, but it's up to their midfield now. They've got their senior players in there. They have to get this ball in their forward half.
Could not be flatter down here, guys. As soon as the ball turned over the umpire, the wind has just been knocked out of the stadium.
Thanks, Spoons down on the boundary line.
Cripps, Carlton.
Free kick going to Cripps. It's not going to be advantage paid as much as Fantasia's gone racing off at the football. It's coming back.
You'd love to see this go to Charlie Curnow. A big contest from your gun.
So the first bit of action left of your screen is Haynes with a long penetrating ball towards the top of the square. No mark from Andrews. Came to Fogarty. Quick chance. It's going to be a goal. It's going to be a goal, and it's gone to Fantasia, who's been sniffing it early.
Well, you need a wild card. You need someone to bob up. Joe, we were talking in the pre-game. Could it be Fantasia? He's a player he's been around the edges for a long time. And I haven't seen him dominate a game for a long time, almost 30 years of age. This is good from Curnow, just to bring the ball to ground, to get that second opportunity. Okay, caught out of position. Oh, it was Moyer in the end. Terrific play. Just to diffuse that high ball. Looked like Andrews was going to take the contested mark. Good start from Moyer. Got what you wanted, Joey, a big centre bounce clearance.
That's all you need to do, get some territory. Now, I love it, they've put Ashton Moyer in the centre bounce, so Michael Voss giving some responsibility to some of the youngsters.
Game 5 for Moyer. The Koenig in there, Chera in there. Umpire will be in there now to do it again. Blues are up and running. Fans are now into it again, which is good. Jim Cotter reaches down, trying to defend it out. Dunkley was slick to McCluggage. Through the eye of the needle, that handball to Berry, who blasted along. Archie got up there, McGovern. Archie hunts him. Haynes lends a hand, little poke pass to Chera. Go get that. That was just the required 14. And he holds it up.
So Chera, his kick to a contest, looking for young O'Farrell, and then coming through the diffuser, Hipwood. So maybe a little bit of a settler for the Blues just to get on the scoreboard. And we've only travelled some 12 and a half minutes in this first quarter. So McInerney won it down, Hewitt grabbed, and another stalemate.
See, their pressure's really good, Brisbane. 2:08 at the moment, we've just poked over 2:10. It's just terrific. Closing space quickly.
Hugh
McCluggage free held. Umpire off the play. Lee Fisher was right on the spot. Didn't see it. Didn't think it was a free. McCluggage hops it inside 50. Hipwood there. And there's a hold now on Hipwood against O'Farrell. This sort of rattled the Blues fans' cage even more.
Just a bit of inexperience from the youngster. There's no real need to put the arms around the waist from this kick, but that's what he did, the umpire. You can just see there, now that's the cues for the umpires. Not a lot in that. That's what the umpires look at.
That came from the umpire in the middle of the ground too, Joey, so he's a long way away to call that one. So back-to-back frees coming from the umpire, not right next to the play. And Sam Doherty coming off with the blood rule, and in the meantime, Eric Hipwood a chance to get his second. I'm convinced the Carlton fans are all engaged in the 4-umpire system at the moment, right? Sure, you need to narrow it down to Carlton fans. A boo or two for Eric. And they get a break. Maybe the footy gods have arrived here at Marvel. Amazing Eric's goal kicking. 15-2 coming into tonight from inside 30 metres. And 3 goals from 15 shots outside 30.
McGovern, booming kick back into the middle of the grounds. Off hands, Forts, almost scored by his own teammate, Will Ashcroft. McCluggage up to Answorth, grabbed by Motlop. Will Ashcroft out to brother Levi. Did well. In tight room, overclubbed it, looking for Hipwood, grabbed by O'Farrell.
Game 3 for Harry O'Farrell. Plants his foot into it wide towards Curnow. Charlie gets his hands on it. That's a good sign. Had to kick it to where he'd love to be. Little side swipe wide to Motlop, delightful delivery. Kind of night are we going to get from Motlop tonight? Chip pass, Hewitt, told to go Answorth, grabbed him up. And is that ball? You bet it is. Ainsworth chips it and they can move it forward again, the Lions.
Will Ashcroft, handball to Fort, retreats back. Rayner looks inboard, wants to set it up for Bailey, who was charging up the ground, making one of those runs. Bouncing ball grabbed by Hipwood. He could use Will Ashcroft. He goes himself and skies it and kicks the belly out of the full.
Jared Berry was calling for that one at the top of the square.
He's a unique watch, Eric Hipwood. Never been the number one guy. He's always kind of been the best supporting actor up there. The number 2 or the number 3. McInerney got hands on it. Dunk to the crumb. Darcy Fort. Archie in the pocket. Taken out for another ball in. It's about the 4th time we've seen Zach Bailey just flash through. Such an aggressive running pattern. You'll see him come through the stoppage again. He's taken no prisoners at forward 50 stoppages.
Wheeled back into play to Koning in the ruck, down to Hollands, to Koning, Cripps. Kick out towards the wing. Andrews set himself, had a couple of bites of the cherry, paid the mark. Inboard to Wilmot. And he's going to come into the middle of the ground. Fletcher. You're a big fan, Lee, of this man.
Yeah, he's a beauty. He's really developing nicely. He's going to be an absolute superstar.
Fletcher to the pockets. Rayner goes up, Lohman goes up. O'Farrell doing the crumbing. Ball still in dispute to Carroll. Who, with a bit of a kick and hope, it's been caught by Fogarty in the nick of time. No, umpire wasn't.
I love the season of Jasper Fletcher. I think, as I said, he's got all the attributes. He's flourished as a half-back this season. He'll probably end up being a midfielder in time as well. Just stacked in there at the moment, but he's an absolute beauty, having a terrific year.
Fort couldn't get away with it. A squeeze kick from Will Ashcroft. Hipwood tried to shake and bait. 7:20 doesn't quite work. O'Farrell did well. And they're out. Cripps. Curnow. Hands have been good so far. Turns, he wants to go. Thumps it long. Moyer. Andrews. Got a hand on it. Moyer the crumb. Got a kick away. Williams. Looked at Motlop. Looked at Williams. And there's Secret Agent 43 doing it again. Just hides in the back pocket back there. Black stealth boots. A number no one knows. Gets the job done every week.
He didn't get a possession, but he just harassed them, didn't he? Now Ransworth, 88th game of footy tonight. Fort to Koning, take that very late, goes to ground. There'll be a ball up.
Trucks again.
So Fort, little tap down, has to go again. McCluggage throws it on the boot. Hipwood went up. Chance for Carlton now through Carroll. Hewitt spins around Lohman, centering kick, gives them a chance. Oh, talking about flying before acceptances. Durden flew on Tuesday and gave away a free kick.
Back into the lineup this week, Corey Durden. Try and fix Carlton's small forward issues. Ainsworth told to go, not the required. Mongrel kick. Hollands, can he pick it up and go? Great tackle, Wilmot. Stopped him in his tracks. Been a feature so far. Brisbane's pressure and sticking tackles. Pressure in excess of 200. That they are right on. De Koning and Fort. Hewitt and Fantasia fought for it. Carroll, Chera. It's a pretty good spot with the kick, but they don't have the numbers. Fletcher, he kept it in front, kept it alive. De Zorko got it over the top. Levi Ashcroft. Bailey, he comes that flooding run. Little dance step was nice. Zorko back on the end of it. Dribble kick, if you don't mind. Almost through legs. Bailey flips it to Archie. Open space ahead. Who does he want? Morris will do. And he can go if he wants to.
And he does. He wants to progress it forward. It's a wobbly entry inside 50. It fell to Bailey. Bailey misses the kick, but it's going to be a free kick anyway.
Should play on to advantage.
Yeah, he took the advantage.
Geez, how cool and calm they're down in the back half there in Brisbane. That was so good, Moons, wasn't it? I mean, Zorko's the one. He's almost demanding of a tag now across half-back. So creative. That dribble kick that you called, Dwayne, just got them out of trouble.
He's almost getting better with age as Curnow goes to try and fight Berry, but he was too strong. Floats it up to the pocket. Rayner's the man. Got up from 4 deep. Couldn't mark it. Hewitt was almost searching for the line and Morris wouldn't let him get there.
Up to 17 inside 50s already for the Brisbane Lions. It's a massive number with 7.5 minutes to go in the term.
To Coney, only to Rayner. Rayner with some strength, gets a handball away. Dunkley, Levi Ashcroft, Lester. Kicking board from Neil, cut off. Cripps, quick hands, cut off again. Bailey, they're just cutting off everything at the moment, the Lions. It's been a ferocious start from them, and then McGovern's little chip kick is going to float just in. They're right on that line, Wayne. That was a 50-50.
Need a bit of luck though, the Blues. They haven't been in it, but they're not out of it. They still won late here. Curnow
This is the matchup, King. He's got Leicester beaten in the air.
to Motlop. So Williams is over the back if they get it on. Or Durden. He goes wide though. Haynes. Fantasia held that line off. And now he goes. Launches it. Pitnet's the deepest. Will he get there? Doesn't. Starcevich content to take Durden and the Sherrod to the line.
Well, they just missed a trick, didn't they, King of the Blues? When Motlop got that mark, they'd come into the corridor. If he just gave the handball receive, they were out goal side, they were out the back, and it would have been almost a certain mark inside 50. He just couldn't release it in time, and instead goes out to the wing.
Will might get rid of it quickly. Dunkley. Will Ashcroft. Now his kick round the corner could be precarious. Grabbed by Hewitt. Was he taken high? Duck said the umpire. Young, was he taken high? Yes, he was. Flynn Young, the third game.
Another decision played from 50 metres away. And the umpire 8 metres away calls play on.
So Flynn Young. Low one towards the top of the square through the hands of Hollands. Grabbed by Williams. Sells the candy. Snaps and kicks a goal. That'll bring some noise around Marvel. They're second. 3 goals last week. Zach Williams with his first of the night. And it's back to 10 points.
They've actually done a good job to weather the storm, haven't they? Considering it's 18 inside 50s to 7, a lot of ball they've had to defend. To be able to 10 points down. And they have looked pretty dangerous. I mean, you spoke about the Moons, just spoke about that matchup. Charlie Curnow, he's getting up the ground and winning that battle. So that's giving them the sort of the exit coming out of the back half. And there's some lively smalls forward of the ball at the moment. Moyer's looking good. Zach Williams been in good form. So if they can just get some more ball in that forward 50, they might just create some more opportunities.
Been a little bit lucky. The Lions have let them off the hook a little bit. 3 goals, 4. It's felt dominant. And as you say, they found a way. It's going against them to just hang in.
Williams was always thinking goal there. 3 straight last week, not just 3, but it's been reliable. Perfect palm to Cripps. Pumps it. Gets it inside 50. Fletcher fisted it down. Fogarty got it. Justin Young was cut down from the side. Not in the back. Just for a split second, I thought it might have been in the backish. I'll let it roll. Carroll goes and gets. Chera, bump front on. Gee, they're attacking. Rayner on the move. Bang. They just hurt you if you give them a sniff.
And sometimes they're just too good and too organised and too slick, and that's where Brisbane are living right now. I thought Doherty's effort to come back with the flight and get a fist in to bring it to ground was absolutely first class. This kick here, going into the middle, he comes back, he opens up the rib cage, does his job, and Brisbane are just hunting harder than Carlton at the moment. The slightest of mistakes, they just can't get the ball from inside to out, Carlton. They look a bit hesitant, a bit fumbly, and a good team, like the Lions, are making them pay.
You see, they just hunt in numbers, don't they? Brisbane Lions, they all stay in the contest. Look at them all.
That's Morris. I mean, not really a strong suit to his game, but he's playing his role.
Fort down to McCluggage. Cripps with a
Just on
close
the
grip on him and holding the
the
ball.
man down here at ground level from Brisbane is outstanding. You can just hear it.
Cripps lays on. Cowan gathers it in. Long ball to Koning, wrestling. Was it clunked in the end? It was. Curno's got it. Curno, well, he was the meat in the sandwich. You could barely see him, but he's taken the mark.
This is big. I think with the injuries going to the Koning boys, I don't think they've got the matchup for this guy in the air. He looks strong at the moment.
This is big. He needs a conversion here.
Well, he took 9 marks last week, but only kicked the 3 behinds. No improvement on that yet.
You're right, Moons. He's working hard. He's everything you want from your power forward at the minute.
Yeah, a couple of goal assists last week, but couldn't kick the goals himself off the rebound. Cripps, captain's goal. No, he misses. So they're 2 big guns, Curnow and Cripps, with huge opportunities wasted there.
Chance for a couple of the big names to step up as Bailey has it. So it's been a fast start, 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Across the face to Fletcher. Starcevic.
This is the challenge now. Force Brisbane to try and kick long down the line.
So McCluggage. Bit of cat and mouse off half-back here. Fascinating to watch. To Fletcher, a little bit indecisive. Eventually comes out to Rayner, which was plan A, and his kick wide. And never looked likely.
Yeah, well done, Blues. Well done, team defence. You can see Brisbane probing. They wanted to come to the corridor. They wanted to go short, but Carlton took it away from them.
Holland's inside, so aggressive inside kick to Doherty. Aggressive to Young. Tipped it to Berry. Tipped it to the back. Fantasia attacks it hard. Williams. Witten got the Sharon. Loads up long. Moyer's in the spot. Got it.
Gee, looks good down there. He's getting loose. He's getting off the chain. He's had a couple of opportunities already. I like what this young man's doing deep forward. This is his role. He's had opportunity in the Carlton lineup before, but a little bit further up the field. This is his spot.
They've got something cooking here, the Blues. No, they haven't. Wow. He's missed. You just feel like they're in it. If they can just kick straight. Curnow, Cripps, and now Moyer with misses.
Just going to try and not get deflated by this, the Blues. Doing a lot right again the last 10 or so minutes.
They've forced Brisbane to go into a less aggressive ball movement game now, playing a lot wider.
Bailey's kick to the congestion. Oh, no, Bart paid, which is a surprise. And then Fort's hat kick ricochets. Haynes along the ground. Cripps. Handball over the top, too hot. Starcevic. Quick one to Rayner. Rayner goes out wide. Sorko. Long ball inside 50. Lions have the numbers, Morris. Morris, who kicked the one last week, but he's kicked 11 goals in his last 3. Real young gun footballer.
Geez, is this a mark?
Probably should be paid. Seemed a lot less held to be paid than that.
You're hot, you're hot. Gee, they get forward quick, though. I mean, this is what good teams do. They sniff a turnover and they just charge. They could have raffled this.
So Logan Morris, who played in a premiership, his 19th match, comes in directly in front and makes the Blues pay. He's going to be a prolific goal kicker for a long time for this squad.
Well, 20 inside 50s. If you keep giving the ball back to a team of this calibre, you're going to pay a price at some stage. A big term now, 34 points, but this handball here, it's just a little bit flippant in that area of the ground. You have to be certain that you're going to hit a Carlton jumper if you're going to flick it back like that into the corridor. Got to be better than that. They've been a little bit unlucky with some umpiring, but you've got to be better than that.
wasted some shots at goal as well, the Blues. The door's been open. But they are playing the reigning premiers. These two teams met in the elimination final last year. 5v8 they were at the end of the home and away. Hewitt got an ugly bounce. Neil couldn't grab it. Berry gave it up. Will Ashcroft, bouncing ball. Haynes did brilliantly, kept it in front. Cripps out wide. They've got a minute to play with. Hollands to Motlop. Zorko right on the money. Told to stand Hollands, Doherty, Motlop. This is the kick though, and he's wasted it. Straight to Leicester.
Probably not the time to try and go quick. You just sometimes got to be patient and composed when you're 70 metres out and wait. They wanted to get the ball going and get it in motion, but then you get yourself in a situation where Motlop has to turn on his left. So there's that light and shade in how you want to move the ball going inside 50.
Chi hoping for Rayner. Haynes comes in for the spoil. Goes to ground. Neil fighting for it. Doherty's in there. Motlop taking it to ground, still in motion, and now out Kingy.
Just watching Zach Bailey. He's gone to full forward. He's got some trouble, I think, with that left hamstring. He's just rubbing the back of his hamstring now. He's not moving as freely as he was. Just stretching. Hope he's okay.
Wrestled forward in the ruck. Pinballs around. Neil flicked out towards Hewitt. Wilmot almost goes without it. Like a cake of soap at the moment. And it's going to be a ball up as we get within 10 seconds of this first quarter.
Brisbane have the spare behind the ball here. Archie just making sure they don't concede one.
By Pitternet. And it's going to be on the side.
So as the big fella launch a talk, that's the question. That's a free hit. This is the time you get to do it at Hilly.
Got to weigh up how embarrassed you want to be, Joe.
Go for it. No point kicking it short with a drop punt.
Talk.
So Pitternet hasn't kicked a goal. He's got onto it. He's got onto it. And they come around him. They ruffle their hair. They know how big that was. It was a dead set bomb.
Exactly what they needed. A bit of energy. Give the crowd something to go crazy about.
Never doubted him, Kingy.
I did.
Never doubted him.
Sometimes you just need a spark, and the old-fashioned torpedo may have given it to them. So it's 13 points at quarter time off the back of a boomer from Mark Kidnet.
Ruckman don't do this. Look at that. Unbelievable.
Outstanding stuff on a Thursday night. It is the Lions leading by 13. It's been ferociously quick early, and tomorrow night we've got a beauty as well, as it's the Gold Coast and Collingwood.
Ho, ho, ho! What a torpedo, if you don't mind. He's gone the barrel after the siren. He's kicked from 60. He's hit it flush, the big ruckman. And it went, and I tell you what, it stayed up there a mile and went straight through the goals, I tell you what. I tell you what, the old superstar, Peter Dacos, would have been super proud of that barrel from 60. Tell you what, a drop punt just wouldn't have made the distance. So, as they do, they love to go the barrel, the big one, and bada boom, bada bing, Eddie G. I tell you what, takes you back to the Malcolm Blight kick. That barrel after the siren, and it just kept on going. Boom, shaka waka. I tell you what, interesting game. It'll give the Blues. I tell you what, they were up and about after that kick. Tell you what, every player came in and giving him high fives, congratulating. And tell you what, that gave the Blue Baggers a bit of a spark. Just shout out Albert's in the house, Adrian's in the house, Tina's in the house, Ryan. The famous Cheers in the house. Good old Collingwood Forever 1990. Yo is in the house. What's going on? Who else is in the house? Dominic, how you going? Come on, Brisbane. Come on, Brisbane. Maybe Brisbane can do what Queensland did last night in the State of Origin. They crunched the Blues. Well, it's a little bit appropriate, isn't it? The Blues and Brisbane playing again tonight. But AFL football action, I tell you what, I'll tell you what, we thought Carlton were going to come out at the start of this game on fire because they got something to prove. But I tell you what, the Lions absolutely went hunting the Blues in that opening 10 minutes of the quarter, put on 3 quick goals. Carlton sort of steadied the ship, even though Brisbane was still, in my eyes, dominating this game. But I tell you what, that is a big goal after the siren for the Blues. But it's the Lions 5-4-34 leading the Blue Baggers 3-21, 13-point margin here at quarter time. We need the Blues to win. So not all we need the Blues to win. I tell you what, it'll be very interesting if the Blues can get up. This will have to be the game of their careers if they want to get up over the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane are playing fantastic football at the moment, and they look on song tonight. But can Carlton lift their pressure like they did in the late part of that quarter? It's good to see. They need to fight for a bit of pride. They need to fight for their positions, especially going into next season. They've got to fight for the coach, although I think the coach might be safe there. Carlton need to show a little bit of pride. There we go. It's all happening. We need the Blues to win. They won their 27th premiership after that kick. I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like that kick put them into a final. I did see some information that Brisbane have won 11 of their last 13 games there at Marvel Stadium. So they do like Marvel Stadium. Don't worry about that. Hey, let's just have a quick look at the goal scorers. All singles, no multiples. Zach Williams, Pinay after the siren. Fantasia are the goal scorers there for the Blues and for Brisbane. Cam Rayner, who started off really well in this opening term. Logan Morris, Eric Hipwood, Charlie Cameron, and Jared Berry, singles for Brizzy. The ball magnets, Nick Haynes there for Carlton. Tops the table on 10 with Josh Dunkley and Zach Bailey both on 10. There we go. Paddy Cripps, not too bad in the opening term with 9 touches, 3 clearances. Go, Paddy. That's what we like to see. We're going to get back down to the action in just a minute. Lockie Neal was 6. I tell you what, we're in for a ring-a-ding-ding game. Carlton will be absolutely, as I said, super-duper happy where they sit at the moment, just trailing by 13 points with the amount of ball that Brisbane had there and were controlling. Brisbane's pressure was up around the 210 early, so they were, as I said, they were really on song at the moment. Charlie Cameron, just the 2 kicks for a goal, and of course the big man for... where is he? I can't. Charlie Curnow, 4 touches, 4 kicks, just the one behind at the moment. So I think Charlie's been held goalless for the past few weeks. So he'll be looking forward to getting on the board. Let me put it back to the summary and just head over and have a look at that live ladder as we have a look at the moment. There's Freo there, sitting in 930, percentage out. If Brisbane do go on to win this game, they'll be a game and a half behind the Magpies. I think the Magpies are sitting all right because this is all going to change in the coming weeks. I think there's about 6 of the top teams play each other this round or something like that, I'm thinking. So it's going to be very, very interesting. That is for sure. And, of course, don't forget, tomorrow night's Friday night football where the Gold Coast Suns, they'll take on Collingwood up there at People's First Stadium. This is a game I expect the Gold Coast to win and Collingwood just to let this one slip. But, hey... you never know. Hey, let's get back to this game, though. Bounce the ball, second quarter. Coming up now, it's the Lions by 13 points.
Sort of belief there at quarter time, boys.
Well, it's nothing, just some energy. Go into the huddle with a bit more, optimism about their game. As we said, they really settled for a bit there. Just you can't make any little mistakes against Brisbane because we've seen they'll make them pay. Gets back to pressure and contest. Keep it simple. Get after them again.
So 13 points. The difference at quarter time. We recommence. Bignet, the man of the moment, grabbed by McInerney and also Neal. We'll repeat the dose. So Will Ashcroft, Rayner, McCluggage, Dunkley, Levi Ashcroft. Like a rifle to Cameron. How about that?
Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? The game has become a ball movement game. I mean, Carlton lead contested possession by 8. They lead clearances. But there are clearances and there are clearances. Stepping through, inside to out. We talk about it a lot. And you get the pure kick on the outside in clear air.
So, can he back up last week's effort of 3 with some goals tonight. Charlie comes in from 49, looks sweet off the boot, and that's a magnificent start for the Lions. We've been travelling 51 seconds in the second quarter.
Now, what made that clearance goal even more impressive was both teams are bringing up about 2 or 3 half forwards. There are a stack of numbers around that contest. So it was always going to be tough to get a clear and clean exit, yet the Brisbane Lions with that sharp handball game. Look at that. Look how many pairs of players there are around this ball up. I mean, both teams bring up forwards everywhere. So to be able to execute and get out, to be able to have a shoulders out free kick going inside 50, that's as good a look as you are going to get.
That handball from Ashcroft, just watch it again. Will Ashcroft, it's a half a elevated little punch. Look, he lifts the ball, just a little flick. So clever to keep the flow and hit the target, front of chest, step out the front. Cam Mooney downstairs.
Well, it was a very good spot by you, Kingy, in that last quarter, because Zach Bailey down here at the moment getting a lot of work on his hamstring, left hamstring at the moment, guys, getting a lot of work there.
Oh, keep an eye on that. Burns, Lockie Neal in the middle, straight to Zorko. So they use the run by handball. McGovern got up there, but he put it to grass. Couldn't hold it. Trouble now. Hewitt, they mop up the mess. Chera, a little too slick for Hollands. Someone needs to mop up that mess. Cowan went hard. Berry the other way from the scramble. Plenty around it. Lohman hardly seen it. And the goalkeeper, Wiedering, takes the mark.
Plays on. O'Farrell, the third gamer. DeConey trying to be clever with his feet. He's going to receive the football. It was a free kick advantage paid. No Mark Durden gets the free kick against Answorth. So they slowly build here. Durden back in the side this week. Kick towards the hot spot. No mark. Fletcher's going to be the first one there and sees it out.
Again, that's still the one for me where they're too impatient. They're so keen to want to get it in quickly, but you can see here, Brisbane were already rolling numbers back in front of Charlie Curnow. So there are times where you need to be patient and probe around the arc and wait for a little short one, not just automatically want to get it in as quick as they can.
Internet does the right word. DeConey still in the square. Montlob attacks it, and Zorko attacks him.
Jesse here. Oscar.
Big pack around it.
Stand behind.
Dunkley side by side with Cripps. The big O wobbles it away. Might be coming back though. It should be a chip to the pocket. Cowan might go for home. He does. DeConey, the man. They always had the numbers to block it up, the Lions. Leicester was one of 3. The pocket was the option. And now the Lions are away. Zorko goes wide. Fort gets up. Knocked it down. Hollands gets it back. Young with the handoff. Chip kick again. It's their inside 50 kick, their attacking kick. A turnover to Berry.
Berry short to Rayner. Zorko running hard through the corridor. Wobbly one off the boot. Just got somehow to Lohman. Then Lohman quickly swings around towards Cameron. Just a little bit too hot for him. And good fist from Wiedering kills the contest. So again, some quick movement of the football from the Lions.
Just seeing that replay there, they don't even give their forwards a chance to get to work. They kick the ball so early that the forwards were trying to work together. They can't get any separation because the ball's already been released. So that's what we're talking about, just being a bit more patient.
Yeah, and the problem is the tools for the tools. I'd love to see a small in there, freeing up Charlie.
McInerney, the big bunt down to McCluggage, grabbed by Jim Cotter and Hollands, and they'll go again.
Chris Fagan, 9th season as coach, premiership in year 8. Stalking the sideline as he always does. Chincotta, Hollands, Cowan gets it out of the trouble zone. Charlie comes up to make a contest and content with Leicester to get it out. It's coming a long way up. Charlie Curnow, but at least he's fighting the fight. So you reckon Hipwood having a rest as well. Fortunes have turned around. Chris Fagan stuck with their man, and he delivered last year.
Kidnet belts it down only to Answorth. Tried to get it back to McInerney, who wasn't expecting it. Still bobbles around, ball really going nowhere. Oh no, Answorth Taking time to pick himself up.
Stopping play.
This is only about 10 to 15 metres away from where the umpire was going to ball it up.
Did you say the word pop then? Did you lip read something going wrong with his calf or?
Well, hoping it's not Achilles. Hoping it's not, because that's where the concern is by the looks of him. Just goes to take off and it just gives way. The classic Achilles mechanism.
Fingers crossed it's not, but as you said, that mechanism of pushing off and then looking around and going to ground, that
he pointed to it.
That does have the signs of an Achilles injury.
See, the injury front for the Lions, as much a talking point as their form at the minute.
They don't have many on their injury list. Gideon Coleman, Jack Payne, Leck and McCarthy, but you don't want to be losing guys that are as reliable as Noel Ransworth.
Yeah, and we just don't know what the situation is with Zach Bailey at the moment. He was reaching at that left hamstring for about 5 minutes late in the first term, so be interesting to see.
Noel Ransworth was recalled back to the squad after a shoulder injury late in the season last year and was recalled to be a part of the premiership team for Brisbane. It's sad to see this as he can barely hobble off.
Yeah, fingers crossed for the young man. He's had his injury troubles in the past, but he'd be such a popular teammate with the role that he plays, the way he goes about it. Hoping for the best.
So play continues. Young met solidly and a ball up.
Yeah, I think you can assess that at home. Signs aren't good for Noel Ransworth. Hewitt got a kick away. Starts between Hart. Durden the other way. Big ball to win. Charlie a little too slick with his handball. Rayner got it from Wilmot. A rolling tackle on Starcevic. And his head slammed into the deck. And he's had some concussion issues as well as Brandon Starcevic. So that's another watch here as his head plowed into the deck. Long kick. Leicester does that so often. So reliable. Hands it off to Zorko. And he's dumped late. Free kick downfield.
Need to call. Play on. Andrews to Berry. This goes little sandwich. Floated for a long time, and Wheatering's taking everything at the moment.
And this is the problem, this next kick here.
So Wheatering's entry, hoping for DeConey, through a few hands. Durden's quick hands, hoping for Williams. He had company though. And now it's Ashcroft, Will getting it to Fletcher, who spears one back into the middle of the ground. Morris couldn't control it. Now the race is on. O'Farrell and fought, but the young man did well. Picked it up, got it to Wheatering. Short one, hoping for Young. Cut off though by Neal, but Young still there. Wins the football under pressure though and coughs it up. Neal's kick inside 50. Cameron fell over at a crucial stage. Haynes worried him out of it. Wheatering went in. He's everywhere and got one high.
So the umpire telling Hollands to tonight, but it wasn't. Darcy fights the fight, couldn't quite pluck it. And they dodge the bullet. Hollands, McGovern, they want the aggressive down the corridor kick. Hitting it, put it down. He's in trouble. He is gone. Will Ashcroft wrapped him, cooked him. He's doing so much right, Carlton, and yet when it unravels, it costs them a goal most times.
Just skill errors keep putting themselves under pressure. It's pretty obvious.
Plants his foot into it. And did it get touched on the line? Gee, for Wheatering's sake, you'd hope it did, but it didn't. It was there to be punched away, and they missed it.
Wow, this is unbelievable. And the big ruckman's confused. So is Michael Voss. What's going on the goal line? There's always going to be a challenge for Ashcroft to get the distance. Wheatering was on the goal line. He was manhandled and pitted it. And Coe just watched.
First skill error.
Yeah, the second. But this is the biggest error of them all, not guarding on the goal line. Here it is here. What is going on?
There's 5 Blues in the goal square. And Brisbane, just the little things, Brisbane. So they block out the 2 big men that were going to be the ones that spoil. So Fort and Morris try and hold them down. The other 3 Carlton defenders, they're all just stand around and look.
Kitnet down to Chera. Over the top, Fantasia kicked a goal in the first quarter. Entry inside 50, Moya couldn't rake it in. Chincotta's there at the fall of the football, affects the tackle. And a ball up.
With the news down here, guys, Zach Bailey's just come back on, Kingy, and yeah, doesn't look great. But obviously with Ainsworth going off now, they're going to have to try and just see how he goes.
Chincotta buried into the turf. Yeah, ball by Neil, another ball up.
You'd think there'd been no risks taken with Zach Bailey, so he must have been assessed and be okay.
Docky around his body. Curnow caught behind. He might get it from behind. Tried to stiff arm. Had it a long time. Motlop beating the sandwich. You wouldn't risk anything with Zach Bailey. 5 goals, 26 possessions. All 10 coaches' votes last week. In ripping form. Wilmot. Berry. Flicks it over his head. Morris with the dance step was nice. De Berry caught. Farrell. Lift doors closed on him. We'll get another ball up.
Already 32 tackles for the Brisbane Lions. Their pressure so consistent.
Umpire's gone down again.
Neil. Fletcher. Will Ashcroft. This is going to be out of bounds on the full. So chance for Carlton. Carroll can bring it back into play.
You need to look here to just try and change angles. Hit something short, come back and across. Everything towards inside 50, generally straight lines and long.
He's put it in the sky for Curnow or the leapers to go up. They all do go up, but no one can bring it down. Stolen. Oh, Fantasia got it up just in time. Hewitt, high, goal square, lines with the numbers. Big picnic! He kicked the monster after the quarter-time siren. Maybe he's the man.
Well, he's giving them some energy anyway. He made a mistake at one end. He's made up for it at the other. Good effort by the big fella. He's competing. That's all it is. That's what he does. He competes hard. The Blues just scrapped away. It was a bit of a nothing ball, but he just refused to give up on it.
There's Ashcroft just in behind the umpire, just trips him up. It's under the microscope at the moment.
And he was completely oblivious where the umpire was, wasn't he? He was looking completely the other way.
But they're saying the players have got to be aware. The players have got to be more aware of where the umpires are. So I'm probably expecting that to be a fine. I know very little contact, but that's what we've been told.
So down to Motlop. A little bit of momentum here for the Blues. Motlop looking for Curnow!
Mark Pitnet is on fire. That tap then to Motlop on the fly was absolutely what the doctor ordered. They're right in this, the Blues. They'll tidy up some skill work. Look at, just missed it there, but this is terrific from the young man to find his gun, keep forward. That's the spot he needed, right in front of his eyeballs.
You feel the crowd is responding to.
Pitner just got a cheering ovation, Kingy, coming off. That's how well he's going.
Expect some noise if Curnow puts this one through. Noise, but it's Bronx cheers from the Lions supporters.
Get him back out there, Moons. Get him back out there. Don't let him rest.
Well, speaking about their Gardner clearly has gone out there with this sub with Ainsworth coming off with an ankle, we are being told by the football club.
Okay, so not Achilles ankle so far. Wilmot. Cowan got there with the fist, knocked it down. Fantasia knew where it was headed. Had Durden to help out, but it's a ball in. So Darcy Gardner, the sub for the Brisbane Lions, hasn't played a lot of footy last couple of weeks. Missed the Geelong game with some bad unagi. Always beware of the eel. Ball back into play. DeConey slaps it down to the front. Cripps made his way through traffic. Fantasia goes back. Chera chip. And good luck to Wilmot. standing in the hole.
Being able to control the game, intercept marks, but this quarter, Carlton 10 inside 50s to 4, so they're getting the game on their terms. It looks more like how they want it to look. They've been able to slow Brisbane up again here, so just got to continue to stick at it. Forget about the skill errors, keep playing their game.
Chi down the line, Pickwood out pointing to Koning. Plays on with it with some urgency. Full extension on the kick. Up they fly. Morris tries to claim it, but there was about 3 hands on it, and the umpire right in the case.
Oh, that's pure, that mark.
Yeah, that's a mark. So play on, and it's going to be a throw in.
Maybe we need 5 umpires.
This is an elite contested mark in a pack of 5. You got both hands to it, only player to touch it, and stuck.
And you saw the umpire on your screen. 5 metres away. Glad it was a mark of the year. Ball knocked down. Well, we've got a couple of options, but Dougage through the traffic. That is phenomenal. Some of the all-time greats would shake their head at the toughness and the strength and the desire of the Brisbane Lions right now. They are brilliant to watch.
This guy is having some sort of season. I just marvel at what he's able to do, the space that he can create for himself. And he's a realistic chance to steal a lot of votes in a Brownlow medal. Just have a look at him weave through here. Wins the hard ball, bends down, accelerates, and has the class to finish on the left. If you give him a metre, and Cincotta was half asleep then, if he's your man, you lock on. Particularly at forward 50 stoppages. What a player this guy's become, Joey.
That is unbelievable. You're right. Cincotta just got caught ball watching for half a second. There's the metre, and that's all the good players in the competition need. And he's hitting the scoreboard every single week now.
9 touches tonight. He plays his 200th next week. McInerney down to Bailey. Tried to flick it back towards McInerney. And then coming through to assist McCluggage. Got it to Wilmot. Fought hard for it. McCluggage that time. That won't be the required trip. De Koning, as a result, had to take his medicine ball today.
Thanks, guys. Battle. Rocks. Oscar. Go at the back, please. George, the way. Thanks.
Umpire asked for some clear passage to back out. Gee, Wilmot ducked behind him as well. De Koning ripped out of the air. Got to kick away towards half forward. Huge ball to win. Fogarty with the tap. Charlie's got it. Turns inside. Dainty little kick to Fritz. Went the required. Over to you, Captain.
He needs to take the responsibility on now. Take the moment. Let his team set up behind the ball. Charlie Curnow, even though he's playing so well, he's got the yips in front of the big sticks, but Cripper, the captain, just needs to set himself here.
I've really loved this game, Joey. He's worked himself into the ground. This will be disposal 13. He's had the 3 clearances so far. Sorry, centre bounce clearances. 4 clearances in total.
He was ill against Port a couple of weeks ago, but 25 possessions, 9 clearances last week. No need to tell you how big this is.
It's going to be a 50-metre penalty, though.
So to take the kick from the goal line, big smile on his face, has a laugh about it. A little things that can become big things. Captain Carlton kicks the goal.
Take it any way they can get them. Just need to take a look at the replay. I think it was the player on the mark was who they have paid the 50 against, but just need to look at that again. Whether he moved off the line as Cripps was coming in. And again, Charlie Curnow, he was trailing Darcy Gardner to the footy. They might have got lucky with the 15 metres, Kingy, but they might need a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Could be against the player on the mark.
No.
Not
Has
against
to be for
Dunkley, is
something
it?
else, Joey.
Has to be. We'll need the front moves. That's your job down there, so we can find out what that was for.
It can be a wacky sport sometimes. Hewitt, Cripps, DeConing, Cripps, roaring for it, Fantasia. Quick kick towards the top of the square. Dannon. Bit of confidence, a bit of self-belief, and they've got a shot at goal again.
No, that's Carlton. When they handball like that, and he's away.
He plays on quickly, kicks the goal, and it's back to 12 points.
When they get their forward handball game going, it's chaotic. It's Carlton living a contest, stay in a contest, see if you can handle the Brisbane pressure, and they have this term. It's been a good fight back, this. Look at this, that's Hewitt, just tough. And Cripps is involved in everything. He really is. Unpredictable kick inside 50 and got on top of the stoppages, Carlton, bringing some damage of their own.
We just saw there, that's what it looks like the 50-metre penalty was for, was the free kick over the shoulder from Zach Bailey on young Flynn. So that's why they paid the 50-metre penalty to Cripps to clear that one up.
It's a 2-goal game. Dunkley tagging Cripps. We'll have to get a little closer the way it's going. Neil, Dunkley, Zorko, out of the middle of that travel. Bailey, spear pass, outstanding. Morris in the hole, put her on his chest, right on the logo. He hit the line, lace out.
Yeah, it's game inside the contest favouring Carlton, not the outside. The ball movement of the Lions is just too slick. And once they can get to clear air, it's impossible to stop them.
Tapping big games this year. Logan Morris has been their saviour on a couple of occasions. Just 1 goal from 5 kicks last week against Port. In he struts, looks good off the boot, and he delivers again, just when they needed it.
Well, he's one of the best set shot for goals in the competition, Logan Morris. He rarely misses, and he's in some sort of form, the young man, leading this forward line beautifully. See there, 11 goals the last 3 weeks, and a couple tonight. He's not fazed by the big occasion. He's loving the having responsibility. He just continues to grow, and as we said, it's almost a flawless set shot technique.
He's fast becoming one of the most important lines. I mean, he's been a revelation in this forward 50 over the last 18 months. And he's the dominant tool.
Of course, played one of the most unique debuts after playing in the VFL. Got the phone call while he was hoeing into some Maccas. And he's been sensational since joining the AFL ranks. Neil's kick to Archie.
Gee, that's a strong mark. They're going at full tilt and able to still stick that, with Haynes driving his body into spoil.
You can hear the instructions to Archie, who's going to prop this up to the square. McInerney's waiting at the back. Good mark, young man. O'Farrell. Spreading kick to Hollands, not the required trip. He exits D50. It's not convincing, hoping for Williams. Almost cut off Fletcher. Williams kept it in, but it's to the advantage of Brisbane. Cameron, his kick astray through for Bahamas. That would have been costly.
That was lucky. 2 Blues looking at each other.
There's no communication. Charlie Cameron couldn't make them pay, but the efficiency's been the big one for Brisbane this quarter.
Doherty goes long. Both Carlton rucks were there, but neither could get a piece of the action. Toe off the deck. Cowan stands in the hole, and Will Ashcroft may be insufficient intent.
If he was on the wing, probably would have been paid, but inside the forward 50, they tend to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, which I'm not sure that's written into the rule book as to actually where it is on the field, but Kidnet in the ruck. Neil traps C.H. Hewitt in a steel trap ball. Had time according to the umpire.
A great tackle. But you have to wonder how Lockie Neal's roaming in a forward 50 stoppage by himself.
Hewitt 4 games away from his 200th. Kick to the congestion. De Koning completely outnumbered, but he gets a free kick for holding.
Stand, Darcy. Darcy, stand. Come back there, Tom.
So really big 6 minutes left in this first half for Carlton to grit their teeth here. Going to the big break with something to think about. Haynes, Doherty. Using the width of the ground. Out to Wiedering. Pummels the handball. Out to Fantasia. Dance round and then kick to Hewitt. Hewitt couldn't quite mark it. But she came in, grabbed by Haynes, and a ball up.
Hewitt asking the umpire about an arm chop. Hit an air. Cripps hammers it towards goal. He needs a bounce. He couldn't get him to drift on him. But he's found the phone box as this Superman. He's threatening to be the guy.
And I think, as Kingy mentioned earlier, he thrives on pit net being the ruckman. I think they have a really good connection.
Zorko's kick to Rayner was outstandingly. And then Neil's handball, Archie, a little fumble, back to Rayner, and then he's grabbed. Blues with some numbers here. Young and Hewitt grabbed by Neil, and also Archie, and untouched.
As soon as he turned that onto him, Archie just mowing him down. This is awesome to watch Brisbane defensively.
Archie, Starcevic, Zorko. It's straight up the corridor. Cameron, too easy.
Too good. Just too good. Sometimes you just have to credit the opposition for moving the ball. Just too slick. Zorko's kicking. What a feature of his game. He just assesses the game so quickly and the ball's gone.
So, Charlie Cameron comes in. Side of the boot job, that one, and through for a behind.
Lions kick the first 3 goals of this contest. Blues got it back to just 2. Fogarty, Hewitt, they're out here. This is the kick. Williams. Well, he goes with the pass. He went to Motlop. It works okay. Motlop took a half netball step as well. And the umpire cutting some slack. Harris Andrews asking the question.
Well, that was aggressive, wasn't it? Pull back, kick out straight down the middle. Go to Cripper, who's on fire, really. It's been the difference. That was close.
And this is monstrous. Averaging less than a goal per game this year. He's had 7 goalless games this season. He's been a whipping boy. Jesse Motlop, and that's why.
Blood pressure a little bit higher in the coach's box. Zorko to Andrews. Well, they've had their opportunities in front of goal, haven't they? The Blues, as Berry to Will Ashcroft. As they progress it down the line, Berry kept running. Laterally, speared it to Neil. Quick movement, McCluggage. To the hot spot, they fly. Archie at the back, O'Farrell dispossessed. Levi Ashcroft goes on to kick a goal. And it's going to be paid. It's another one to the Lions. So after a set shot from close range, the other end of the ground, Brisbane make them pay. They lead by 4 goals.
Yeah, and it's their 5th goal in the forward half from just their pressure and their ability to win the ball back. Just again here, just no time. We've talked a lot about their ability to hunt tonight when they haven't got the ball. Just have a look here. Turns, bang, gone straight away. Rayner just stalking the Carlton defender. He takes 1 step and he's gone.
And there was a whistle on that play. That was holding the ball.
Yeah, which is the right call. And then you go to work and get the rewards. But everything's coming off the back of Brisbane's pressure tonight, which has been through the roof.
And I love their patience in the build-up. That's an example that Carlton could take. On that occasion, they weren't trying to play aggressive and go through the corridor. They just build it up through the midfield. Then at the right time, give a handball, get a deep entry.
Fort and Pitternet. Neil, slick-handed. Rayner against the grain. Back to Fort. Bangs it long. Archie with one hand. Couldn't quite. Carroll goes and gets. Hearted down by Charlie. He had the hush puppies on. Crept up on him. Bang.
They're not just tackling, they're big, hard body tackles as well. Everything's to ground. You can hear the smack of flesh down here. But they're just attacking everyone, the Brisbane Lions.
Young Matty Carroll, that's the difference between VFL footy and AFL footy.
They were within 2 goals a few minutes ago. And now it's a 30-point margin.
Yeah, sometimes there's nowhere to hide when you've made a couple of blues as a defender deep down back like this, but it's all part of rugby. And it's hard to accept at the time, but there are some teething pains with some youngsters coming into the lineup here. He takes one step. He's stiff there. He's trying to do the right thing for his team to get out from the fat side. And here he just simply takes too long. Just a little bit casual, starting to weave. You just don't have time to weave when Rayner, Lohman, and obviously Charlie are in the area.
Charlie Cameron earlier this year into the top 100 goal kickers of all time. He needed 8 to do that. He's at 19 for the year now. And some of the players from Wrexham who've been visiting Melbourne met the Hawks at Waverley during the week as Wilmot gets rid of it somehow. Doherty couldn't grab it. Cowan did. They grabbed him and holding the football.
These tackles just continue to mount now. 41, and a lot of them have just been tackles that have stuck. Boys have had no chance.
Wilmot. Less than 2 to play in the first half. Skies one towards the pocket. Attracts a crowd. Hipwood couldn't mark it, but he gathered. Hurried kick. Will Ashcroft scampers after it. Won the football. That was clever. Got it to Cameron. Looping handball over the top. Neil from a standing start goes bang round the body. And it is out on the full.
Leadering in the back pocket. Gets it out of the area. DeConing comes down to make a contest. Couldn't grab it. Wilmot got it from Dunkley. Wobbles it back in. Hipwood goes with the fist. 60 seconds away. Michael Voss. 4th season as Carlton coach. Finals the past 2 years. 8th last year. 3rd the year before. 3-time premiership player with the Lions, Brownlow medalist. Former coach for the Lions, 5 seasons with a 40% win record. When he coached the Lions, all close to the boundary and out of play again. No blood rule for Rayner. Umpire hasn't seen it. You have. All flung back in. McInerney, DeConing, both wrestle. Neil, caught by Chincotta. Get another ball up.
Stay behind, move out.
DeConing, Cowan, he's taken, spilt out to Hewitt. Then Chera, down towards the wing. Down it comes towards Wilmot, worried out of it by Motlop, had to pick it up under his legs, and he's grabbed by Fletcher, and a ball up with 30 seconds to play. In this first half, after it was 13 at quarter time, it's out to 30. Pitnet and Ford go at it.
Umpire's gone down again.
So the kung fu kick from Wilmot progressed at about 30 metres. Only as far as Wiedering, who can leave D50 to Cowan.
Chip wide to Hewitt. He knows how long left because the sign says 30 in front of him. Gave to Doherty. Spear pass is good. Moyer can go. He has to go. They need him to get it in there for a mark attempt. He launches it. Fogarty, Motlop. They're both there. Hollins will do. Can't quite crumb it. Wasn't quite held. Siren sounds. Half-time at Marvel Stadium. The Blues got within 2 goals and looked threatening. Had their opportunities to get a little closer, but the Lions have finished the half with 3 goals in a row.
And that's all it was, the efficiency inside 50. Carlton finished with 3 goals, 3 from their 15 entries. Brisbane 6 goals, 2. Charlie Cameron missed a couple, but it was Carlton's set shot opportunities. They had their chances. Motlop had one. Curnow earlier in the quarter, just to build the pressure. Yeah, and they weren't able to do it. And Brisbane were able to be efficient. But we heard from Chris Fagan pre-game talk about Brisbane's handball game's improved with some of the players, and no doubt the Ashcroft boys have been a big factor. But to be able to get this ball from inside to out with that congestion that was around that repeat stoppage after the centre bounce is just elite footy. And that's why they are efficient when they go inside 50. They can find the marks. They've got different avenues to goal, and they are just a sharp football team. You've got to do so much right against the Brisbane Lions. And Carlton, they tried hard. You can't question their effort. The polish and the execution still lacking. But even despite all those positives, they go in 5 goals down, Dwayne.
So Brisbane, the reigning premier, they began the round second. They'll stay second with a win. Great to have your company on Thursday night footy. Do not go anywhere. Fox Footy. The footy never stops on Fox.
All right, there we go. It is half-time here, folks. Brisbane Lions have extended their lead by 30 points. We go. Carlton putting on 3 goals, 3 in that second term. The Brisbane Lions, 6 goals, 2. I tell you what, Carlton actually didn't do too bad in that quarter. I think, look, some of the decisions of the Blues, well, not quite the best. Some of them are just too slow with the ball getting tackled. Free kicks to Brisbane, slotting the goals. There we go. Whereas the Brisbane Lions, tell you what, they look dangerous every time they go in their forward 50, Adrian. Absolutely too classy. You know, I was thinking the other day, what does make a good team, good player? And I think it's the decision-making that the players can actually do out on field. That separates them from being a great player to, well, just a player. And, of course, TDK there for Carlton. My gosh, he's more like the $12 man, not the $12 million man. Tom de Koning, I tell you what, if I were Carlton and we knew he was going next year, I think I would leave him out of the side this season, let someone come in and actually have a crack, because Tom de Koning, to my liking, is probably the worst player out on the ground at the moment. But you're right, the Blues did have their chances in front of goal. They just missed a few easy goals. They're just not kicking straight at all. My gosh, whereas the Brisbane Lions, they're pretty well taking their chances when they can. They've missed a couple, but Carlton, my gosh. And this is why the margin is 30 points. Carlton should have kicked a few of those goals. But with missing, Brisbane's just taken it down there, got the goal, and it's been like a 2-goal turnaround a couple of times. Otherwise, if Carlton had actually slotted the goals that they should have slotted, this game would have been certainly a lot tighter. Probably would have been somewhere back to the quarter-time margin, not blowing out to 30 points here at half-time. Come on, Carlton. You know what? Carlton are trying. And I will say this, big Charlie Curnow, actually not playing too bad of a game, although he hasn't, I don't think he's scored a goal yet. Let's just have a look at the goal scorers. I still don't think he's scored a goal, but he's not actually going too bad. All right, so this isn't reloading. There it is. Oh, my gosh. It's just a little bit slow. But Charlie Cameron, there we go. The other Charlie on the ground, down the other end for Brisbane Lions. He's slotted 2 goals, 3 from his 6 kicks. Charlie, he's doing all right. He's been brought into the game up until half-time. Sometimes he's been a little bit slow, but he's been pretty good, Charlie Cameron, this evening so far up until half-time. Logan Morris, he's kicked 2. Should have been 3. There was a mark that just wasn't paid to him. Clear mark to him, but it wasn't paid to him. Come on, umpires. You're right next to it. Get out of the corridor, by the way. The umpires have already been over on their backside a couple of times. Get out of the play of the players. Hugh McCluggage, hey, Bags, don't forget your luggage. You kicked one with Eric Hipwood, Jared Berry, Will Ashcroft, and Levi Ashcroft are the goal scorers for Brisbane. As I said, for Carlton, Pinay's kicked 2. Zach Williams, Fantasia, Durden, and Cripps. Cripps got his goal from a 50-metre penalty. It wasn't too bad. I'm still not sure why. He had a shot and he missed it, but then a 50-metre penalty was given. He had a big smile and slotted the goal. All right, let's just head back down to the commentators for a moment. We'll come back with the stats not too far away.
Intensity every time they've looked like challenging.
Well, they've got class and depth, the Lions, haven't they? I mean, I think the Blues have done a pretty good job in terms of not letting Lockie Neal or Hugh McCluggage get out of hand. They're still contributing. They're still great players, but they haven't dominated. But there are so many players that can step up when Brisbane need them. And every time Carlton challenged, and they did challenge a number of times, Kingy, Brisbane were able to steady.
They've been tough, Carlton. You have to admire what they do in heavy traffic. But as soon as the game gets to the outside and becomes a ball movement battle, they're just too good, Brisbane. And they've been too good for most of the competition for 18 months. So let's not go too hard at Carlton for being exposed there.
Let's have a look at our Harvey Norman highlights, and it is the reigning Premier's pressure. 195 assists around Jace. It has been eye-catching, their work rate and just how intense they've been.
Yeah, pressure's been great, and what it does do also is it enables them to put goals on the board because you're creating turnovers, you're doing all sorts of things. They lock the ball in the forward 50, they get those forward half turnovers, they're so good at converting it into scores. So, I mean, when you've got a highly skilled team that's prepared to pressure, you're going to go a long way towards winning the game.
8 tackles in the forward 50. I felt for Carroll times. I mean, he did take a step too far on that occasion, but they are hunting and hunting hard. I think Chris Fagan would be blown away by their intent without the ball tonight.
And when we spoke to him before the game on Fox Footy, he hinted that they've been a little, not boring, but cautious and not taking it on. They've got the flair, they've got the weapons, and he's certainly encouraging them just to go for it.
No, we are. We've deliberately tried to do that. Felt like we were playing a little bit cautious, a little bit playing not to lose a few weeks back, and we just decided we play our best footy when we take the game on, it seems, and every now and then on the bench I might have to slow it down, but I think that we play better footy that way, so that's what we'll do. I feel like our handball skills have improved, you know, with the addition of the Ashcrofts and Dunkley, and Lockie's always been a good handballer, and a few others. I think we've been able to bring that into our game a little bit more and take it on.
They've got gears, haven't they, Kingy?
Well, 72 points and a half of football is a big number, and 47 of those from turnover. You give them the ball and you bleed. It's as simple as that, Jace. They've been awesome tonight.
He spoke about handballs improved. We saw a couple of chains of hand passes in heavy traffic, which were able to release the ball from inside all the numbers to an outside player who had time to dispose of the ball, and then they hurt you.
Certainly a bright spark for the Brisbane Lions. Let's talk about the Blues and Mark Pitnet, who brought the house down here at Marvel Stadium with an awesome talk outside 50. Jace, you're the goal-kicking guru on our team. Tell us about this one.
Well, I'm not the talk guru, but I loved it. It was funny because when the siren went, he was going back. Someone's obviously had a little go at him. Probably a teammate. They said, go the big talk, and he had a half a grin. Then he went back and thought, well, it's the only chance of scoring, because I'm going to have to kick it the best part of 65 metres, 70 metres. And he's just gone back and laid into it. I love this, though. He pushed forward and he kicked the second goal. And he really got the team up and about. It really generated some enthusiasm because he was prepared to really use his body, use his size. And I thought the way he distributed some of the ball as well, Kingy, was first rate.
Oh, 100%, Jace. And Joey touched on his connection with Patrick Cripps. Patrick's had 5 clearances, 6 score involvements in a half of football. It's as good as he's looked for a little while. So they're working well in tandem.
He's brought the energy. Unfortunately, that energy has been sapped at times through wasteful kicking on goal and in general field play. And as Jason said, the Lions just punished them on turnover.
Yeah, the first quarter. I mean, the Brisbane Lions averaged 21 turnovers in their forward half. Their ability to win it back, lock it in, stay there. It was 11 in the first quarter. It's been a problem for Carlton for a long time, Jason.
Yeah, and look, we saw it a number of times. They won possession and they did well to win that possession. And then you've got a chance to turn defence into attack, but they just shot themselves in the foot. You turn it straight over, and then all the guys that are trying to run and create are out of position, and you get caught out like this.
You have to marvel at what Brisbane do without the football, though. I know we talk a lot about their high-octane offence, but everything has come off the back of winning the ball back as close to goal as they can. Look at the numbers there. 4 or 5 guys charging back to goal. They know what's coming. They're ahead of it in terms of saying, okay, it's going to a contest, get ready to go. And Zorko and these guys pull the trigger so quickly down back. You're in trouble immediately as a Carlton defender, Jason. It's tough to play against.
You can't be a premiership team unless you're taking care of all facets of the game. And that's what Brisbane do. And that's what the others are aspiring to do. Carlton aren't there yet. And they're finding out exactly what happens. Just when they relax a little bit, they think, oh, we've won the ball, we've taken it back off them. Then the pressure's on and they've got to hang on to it. They're finding that difficult at times.
Yeah,
but they're in the they've got themselves in the contest.
Some awful defensive blunders along the way. We're going to talk some injury news now. Noah Answorth went down. It looked an awful injury. In fact, looked quite Achilles-ish. We are told that it's an ankle injury, but he's an important player to them, Kingy. They'll be hoping that this isn't too serious.
Yeah, and this is the time of the year where all injuries start to really hurt. When you've had an Achilles yourself, Sarah, it did look like that mechanism. It just gave way, that ankle. You hope it is the ankle, Jason, as silly as it sounds. I mean, it's the season.
It's connected to the ankle. It's the ankle region. It didn't look good. So we can only keep our fingers crossed. You'd hate to lose him for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. It is staggering that umpire contact is put on the agenda. And since that's happened, we've had some absolute howlers where umpires have been cleaned up, players contacting. Jace, what's your call on this one? Carlton fans certainly unhappy with this. It probably cost them a goal.
Well, I get that, but they can't be invisible umpires. They've got to stand somewhere. So where do you want them all outside the boundary line? Then they're not going to be in the best position to make decisions. They're wearing bright green clothes. We've got to be aware of them. I don't know what the solution is. We can't sit there and say you're not allowed to go in the corridor at all. I know we've got 4 of them, but gee, we've just got to be better at avoiding them.
But aren't they in the absolute spot that you want to counterpunch into?
Yeah, they might be kingy, but you've also got to have at least one of them close enough. Now, he's just throwing the ball up and there's a bloke standing right behind his leg.
That's different.
But you've got to be close enough to make a decision if there's a decision required.
Yeah.
Will he be in trouble for that one?
Yeah, he's in trouble for that. That's a fine because that's the area we all know the umpire's looking to retreat and get out of the traffic. But I think the first one, we've got a lot of work to do with the umpires.
A little earlier today in the West, some comments from Justin Longmuir. We're going to check in with those and then get your reaction, Kingy.
To be honest, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me what I've done to David King, I'd be a rich man and I'd probably be in the Bahamas, guts up, rather than doing his job. So, and in the end, like, everyone needs to understand that it's just David's opinion. And we're a game based on opinion, and that's his opinion. That's enough said about it, really. I don't want to be disrespectful towards anyone, but I don't think David's put together a game plan, put together a list, put together a culture. So, it's just an opinion, and that's what I take it as. It seems a little bit over the top, but it seems to be his way with me.
That's the first time I've heard that. That's a fair whack, Kingy.
No, I think he's entitled to say his thoughts as well. I mean, that's the game. We say what we think, they say what they do. I've got no problem with that at all.
You hit the nail on the head. We are in the opinion business, which is what we do. His opinion doesn't have to agree with anybody else's. It doesn't agree with David's. Yours doesn't agree with him. And that's okay. So I like the way he handled it. Your nose isn't out of joint. No. You're okay. You'll survive, Kingy.
I'll be okay. And I hope he wins the flag.
He's wrong about one thing. You've set up a culture. You're the captain of the Thursday night footy team. You set up our culture superbly, Kingy. All right, on Monday night, a legend returns to Fox Footy. Mike Sheehan takes his seat back on the couch. This is not to be missed.
Look who's back on the...
All right, so instead of going to that, let's head on over to Nate. Let's go and have a look at some of the stats over there. Hey, by the way, folks, if... while we're on half time, head over to Game Board. Go over there and say g'day to her because she's doing live as well, Tine. Head over and say hello. Say shouty to the famous Game Board. If you're there and you've got her link, there we go. Let's just have a look at the disposals. We had a look at the goal scorers out there. There we go. Will Ashcroft. Well, he's top on the table. He's the ball magnet so far out on the ground up until half time. For the Brisbane Lions, he's had 18 disposals, 10 kicks, 8 handballs. He's had a mark, 3 tackles, well done, 2 clearances, and he's kicked a nice sausage roll. Best for Carlton, Paddy Cripps leading the way. Good to see Paddy back up and doing a fantastic job as well, directing this Carlton team. 17 touches there for Paddy, 6 kicks, 11 handballs. He's had a mark, 3 tackles, good stuff, 5 clearances. So he's putting himself in the right positions, kicking 1 goal, 2. Just needs to get a little bit more accurate on his kicking, does Paddy. Zorko down back is having a great game there. 16, Lockie Neal. I tell you what, he's doing not too bad without dominating the game. 16 touches, 4 clearances, still doing nice. I tell you what, Lockie Neal, he's a very smart player. This is a player, one of those great players that have got just a load of composure and generally makes the right decisions in pressure moments that have to be made. So Lockie Neal, big round of applause to you. George Hewitt next best for the Blue Baggers on 16 touches. Of course, there we go. We've got 6 of the top 8, all Brisbane. Josh Dunkley on 15, Wilmot 14, Cam Rayner, there we go. He's up to 14. Good to see him having a few touches up until half time. He's normally slow to begin his games, but he came out like a whirlwind in the opening term. A little bit like a tank, very hard to tackle. He's had a clearance, a couple of tackles, 14 touches and a goal, so he's doing all right. Nick Haynes on 14 there for the Blue Baggers. Doherty, 11 there for the Blues. Hugh McCluggage, well, he's just having a game at the moment. Nothing too special, just doing his role with his 10 touches. He's kicked a goal there. Of course, Charlie Curnow, as I said, look, he hasn't played too bad a game without kicking a goal. I'll tell you what, he's certainly got the yips on his kicking in front of goal, hasn't he? Just the 2 behinds. He's had 6 kicks, hasn't laid a tackle. This is the one thing about Charlie. He's always there for the for the initial contest, but he needs to back up with his second and third cracks at it and lay a few more tackles, put a little bit more pressure on. No tackles there for Charlie. He needs to lift in that part of the game. Jacob Wiedering, he's actually doing a good job down there, although just the 7 touches. He's doing a lot of spalls and doing a lot of right things for Carlton down the back line. Charlie Cameron, of course, so 3 goals, 2, as I said. He's had a pretty good opening first term. You just never know. He might light the fans up as well. I don't think there's a big crowd in there tonight, maybe 22,000 people in there at Marvel Stadium. It's only like a half full stadium, LMK, so you just never know. You just never know what's going to do. As I was saying, Tom De Koning, TDK, he looks more like the $10 man, not the $12 million man. My gosh, the price tag they got on him. I don't know how they can possibly pay this type of player that type of money. And if I was Carlton and we know he was going next year, I'd just leave him out of the team, play a few fresh players. Lions are just staying on top. They are staying on top, and I think that's through a few errors of Carlton as well. Eric Hipwood there, just 5 touches, 5 kicks. A little bit slow in today's game. 1 goal, 1. Mark Pinney, he's going all right. He's only had the 4 touches, the ruckman for Carlton, 2 kicks, 2 handballs. He's kicked 2 goals from his 2 kicks. He did kick that beautiful 60-metre barrel after the siren on the first quarter. It was an absolute ring-a-ding-ding goal. Tell you what, the players got around him. 22 hit-outs, 1 clearance there for him. All right, let's go and have a look at some of the team stats as we load this one up. It's the Lions by 31 disposals overall. And, of course, the inside 50s, Carlton, they're not too far behind the Brisbane Lions. They've had 27 inside 50s for their 12 scoring shots. Brisbane Lions, however, 35 insides their forward 50 for 17 scoring shots. Brisbane Lions, however, I tell you what, they just seems to be a little bit easier going inside their forward 50. They're hitting targets well. And they're looking more dangerous than Carlton going inside their forward 50. Carlton struggling a little bit to find that target, that loose target inside their forward 50. Disposal efficiency, Blues just above average. The Lions going pretty good at 76%. The free kicks 12 to 14, plus 2 to the away side. Well, yeah, I don't know. Look, it's reasonably well umpired, I think. It's reasonably well umpired. Hit-outs, Carlton on top there. 29-21. The clearances, Carlton are actually in front on the clearances, +3. Centre clearances all tied up, which is great to see with this super midfield of the Brisbane Lions. Carlton really doing a good job there, and they're +3 in the stoppage clearances. Contested possessions, great to see Carlton on top in the contested possessions. They're +7 there. Turnovers pretty well even. Just looking at the marks, of course, 34-51. As I said, marks inside 50. I know Carlton 7-6. The Lions just seem to be doing it better and just a bit easier when they are getting their marks inside their forward 50. Tackle count, I know Carlton a little bit above their season average, but I'd like to see Carlton lift their pressure even more, continue to put pressure on the Lions, because if you don't, the Lions will just tear you apart. All right, folks, hey, let's get back down to the action for the bounce of the ball for the third quarter. It's the Lions by 30 points. Can the Blues make a comeback?
Set shot opportunities. What are we going to see in the third term? McInerney and Pitnet. McCluggage, just a little tap to the advantage of Neil, who floats one to half forward and coming out to meet it O'Farrell, who's done some good things tonight.
And they want that corridor kick if they can get it. Chera kicks them out of it. McGovern. Cowan. Down the line to Motlop. Nice delivery. Good build up there, short to Carroll. Had a couple of moments in the first half, but he's trying to make amends with a sizzler here to Curnow. Crowd screaming for a free to Cripps. Fantasia working in the phone box, got it to Cripper. High kick. Pitnet's in the middle of it all. Off hands, Doherty, the Koning, kick smothered. The ricochet might work for Durden. Went and got it, gave it to Chera. Back pedals against the grain. Cowan, wide ball, Cripper again. Got it! He threatened in the second term to pull them back level. They got within 2 goals. He's wasted a couple of chances at goal, but he backpedals knowing how important this is. There is an eternity left in this game. 30 points to margin. A 2-time Brownlow medalist, 5-time best and fairest, 4-time All-Australian. And it doesn't bend back enough, and it's something into play. Gardner knocks it through. Another chance wasted by the Blues.
It has been enormous, Cripps, tonight. The goal kicking's been the issue, and of course third quarters we know have been an issue all year. They're ranked 16th in the competition.
Archie to Hipwood to McCluggage. Quick movement through the middle. That might be a bit hot. It is for Fletcher. Affects the tackle on Chera. Coming through was Morris. And now Berry just paddles it to himself. And then to Hipwood. To the top of the square for the Lions. Lohman wrestling with McGovern. McGovern out bodies in that time and goes out. Doing a concussion check by the look of it.
A clash of heads there between Fletcher and Dunkley.
Friendly fire, we'll keep an eye on that. Already down a man, Ainsworth out with that calf Achilles issue. Haynes tries to get it out of the area. Good attack by Durden, hits the deck. Motlop kept his feet, tried to part the seas but couldn't. Fletcher hammered. Did he fend? I said ball up.
It's happened a lot tonight where Carlton have almost got the ball out. Their handballs haven't quite hit, their knock-ons haven't quite hit. The exiting Carlton player has brought Brisbane back into the game.
If he's going to know what day it is, that's certainly going to not help. Dunkley's kick is smothered. Floats towards the boundary line. Can Cripper keep it in? Chera tackled over by McCluggage. Down to you, Cam Mooney.
Yeah, we just got some news from Brisbane Lions. So it is the Achilles for Ainsworth, guys, unfortunately. So, yeah, the news has just come through. Not the ankle, not the calf. Unfortunately, the Achilles.
So that's certainly disappointing news. Dunkley really sinks his boot into that one. Right to the goal mouth. Needs a spoil. It's going to be a free kick. It's going to McGovern against Cameron.
Standing on the footy. Yep. Eric, take him out. Take him out.
Yeah, that's horrible news for Ainsworth and the Brisbane Lions. He's been a critical member of their defensive core, Joey.
Yeah, locks down on the dangerous small forwards of the opposition, and he said real glue guy, this footy team. So it's going to be a big loss, probably a 12-month injury, that one.
Yeah, he missed all of 2021 with an injury as well. Neil inside. Bailey, it was the required. Play on, no, it wasn't the required. Ran out of a tackle though. How's the core strength? He mesmerised a lot of them. Weaved his way past them. Zorko flicks the handball over the top. Two Blues get in each other's way. Bizarre. O'Carroll again. It's a few mistakes he's made. He took his own captain down.
It's like a game of parkour there for a minute, wasn't it?
Strange sequence of events.
Stand.
Not sure what Zach Bailey was doing. He's already kicked the three behinds in that opening turn. He gets another opportunity here after taking the mark inside 50. Could have gone back. He wanted to keep it going.
Coming off arguably the best game of his career last week, Zach Bailey. Same draft, they got Cam Rayner, Brandon Starcevic and Jack Payne. Big draft that was. Off hands. Motlop getting down to lend a hand. Carroll was dumped again, and the umpire says, I'll have it.
Brisbane right.
We'll have to be careful here, the Blues. Brisbane, they kicked 9 goals, 5 in the first half from the forward half of the ground. That was the most ever they've had in a first half on record. 6 of them from turnovers, 3 from stoppages. So red alert here for the Blues.
McInerney bats it down. Morris has to apply the tackle.
What happens, Joey, is as a defender, you don't want to get the ball. You get tense about taking possession for fear of being run down.
Kick net one up narrowly. Lohman trying to thread the needle, had 3 to beat. Holding the football.
Great tackle.
Haynes is going to come up with it. Running laterally for him, Doherty, and he spills it. Hipwood gets an opportunity. Cameron, he kept it in, did he? Oh, he's going to be excited if he did keep it in, but the boundary umpire didn't believe in the theatre of it all. It's been a wacky game at times tonight.
More blood on Doherty. Came off with the blood rule earlier. Again, a handball that missed the target. Little things, little mistakes, causing big problems for the Blues. Put it out of the middle of that right contest. Charlie had it. Couldn't get away with it. Cherry got the handball. Gives the kick. Andrews, front spot. Can't break away. Fogarty needs a bounce. Hands it up to Durden. Little look away to Doherty. Hemmed in, corralled, went inside, turned it over. Another kick missing a target. Neil, uncharacteristic fumble. Wilmot over the top. Gardner, the sub on. McCluggage, he rolled that along the deck to Morris. Archie breaks another tackle. Slams it on the boot. Haynes should get there. Did with the double fist. Knocked it back into trouble. Chera wrapped up.
Well, that's the game. Carlton have the opportunity to get the ball to the outside, and it's just smothered. There's that handball out, gone, got to go. And they just couldn't quite get that ball into the corridor from Doherty.
Cripps out of the congestion. Chera has a bit of time to think about it. The cut off, and the Lions can reload. Wilmot receiving it from Gardner, and then Starcevic to all on his own. Fletcher can blaze away here, can just about line up somebody. No mark from the tall timber McInerney, and then it was Haynes being flicked over by Bailey, and a throw in.
So inside to out, I think that's why Carlton lead the contested possessions by plus 18. They're smashing them in tight, but they can't get the ball to the uncontested players on the extremities, whereas Brisbane can.
Says the hip and shoulder's dead. The big O knocks it down. Archie, Hipwood, got a little trickler. Morris, top of the goal square. Still alive for Cameron, lays a tackle, holds it in the area. Crowd on the edge of their seat here. The Blues at least fighting. Trying to do it for their coach who's been under siege. There's a massive class difference at the moment. And McCluggage only behind. Again, that core strength that goes through the traffic.
So they're bitterly defending here, the Blues. Cowan to bring it back in. Cowan with 13 touches, long ball. Andrews, no mark. Chera, Durden, Doherty, Young. Curnow, up the ground. Little chip forwards, open for Fogarty. McCluggage dropped it, but it's a free kick. Tired looking. McCluggage picks himself up and the little sand wedge to Berry. Berry, probing ball towards the pocket. Lohman at the back, set himself. Had his name written all over that. LOHMANN.
Very good. I mean, that's the quality of kick inside 50. Just to give your forward the dominant advantage, and he didn't let you down. LOHMANN. Nice work, Matty.
So, Kyle Lohman looking for his first tonight. The damn wall busted eventually, and the Lions kick away to a 36-point lead.
Well, something was going to give. Hardly been sighted, Kyle Lohman tonight, but McCluggage again. Just the ability to first get that free kick, but then how quickly he looked into the corridor. He was prepared to go for the kick, back his talent and his skill level in, and then they get a quality entry because they're coming in from that launch pad zone, 50 to 60 metres out from goal, where you can get it flat and deep. That kick there, look how quick he is just to pull the trigger on it. So from there for Berry, that's a great look. That's the class difference between the two teams.
And their family in the house. Kyle Lohman as well from Lake Wendouree and Ballarat. In fact, it's an away game for the Brisbane Lions, but they've got 10 Victorians in their 23 tonight. Motlop hands it over to Hewitt. Cowan barrels one long, hoping for Charlie. Got up there. Gardner with a fist was up there with him. Ball hits the carpet. We'll get a ball up.
Fogarty trapping it in with those legs. Wanted to be a little bit careful. Fort. Only down to Williams. Smothered ball. Starcevic went the fist. Is it enough? Comes out towards Fletcher. Fletcher back to Starcevic. Starcevic clears the area. Lohman at the back. Doherty worked his way to the front. Fantasia and Cameron with a bit of a foot race. Fantasia held his ground well. Spears it to Young. Young wheels and goes. Centering ball. Durden's there. Andrews, though, is in seat 1A and fills the hole.
Want to play quick. Chris Fagan told us that pre-game. Told Kingy and Joey pre-game. This is their mode. Neil goes long. Ching, will he get up there? He did with the fist. Got him to the front. Morris, clever handball through traffic. Bailey, little back heel. Hollands, was that a handball or a throw? It was a throw.
And again, it's just that inability to get it inside to out. Their pressure is so good that they're able to disrupt that. Just a grab of the arm. Terrific defensive play from on their gun playmakers in Bailey.
Got some height forward as well. Darcy Fort, Lohman, Hipwood in the middle of that pack. Lohman tried to back out of a jam. Did he have Pryor and Fend? No. Ball up.
To Koning. Wins it down. Will Ashcroft scrapping for it hard. Lohman and Dunkley. They tackle McGovern to the ground.
Darcy and Tom. Keep the space clear.
Fort. Only to Hewitt. Off a step. Barrels it towards half-back. Punched away from Curnow. Doherty with a little bit of claret streaming down the face again. Tried to manufacture it to Durden. Winning the football, Leicester. Round the corner. Kick towards the top of the square. Fort's there. Who's there? Look out. Bailey. Bailey gets the goal. An emphatic goal in the end. If there's one man you don't want coming from the opposition, it's Zach Bailey.
They just have too much talent, don't they, forward of the ball, King? There's just talent everywhere. And something's going to happen if they continue to get entries.
It's pretty slack defensively, to be fair. The Cowan just had no idea where he went. And we spoke with Lockie Neal last Saturday night on Super Saturday. We asked him about this guy. What's the difference? And he thinks he could be a top 5, top 10 player in the competition if he continues to do what he did this off-season. You can see it. We're starting to see it more regularly in 2025. The sky's the limit for Zach Bailey.
And the growth factor, this time last year, Carlton was second on the ladder. 11 wins, 5 losses. And they begin this round 6 wins and 10 losses. Staring at another loss now. Motlop, hunted down by Lyman, got away. Got the kick away, got it to half forward. Moyer has given them something at least. Turns and goes and launches. But again, a wasted opportunity.
He's missed a couple, Moyer, but at least you see the talent in this kid. He's worth persisting with. When we talk about trying to find more talent forward of the ball, it's an issue for the Blues this season. He's shown he's more than capable with some more games under the belt.
Rayner just put the little fend off and then sends it in the hipwood at Andrews' direction. Fisted away. O'Farrell and Fantasia run at the football. Fantasia over to O'Farrell. Little volleyball work was clever to Fantasia. Handball too hot for Young. Was able to gather it though. A little bit of cat and mouse with Wilmot, and then the centering ball cut off by Berry. And Berry can retreat outside defensive 50 to Dunkley.
Bailey, here they go again, wanting to play quickly. Berry, Sorko, gee, he can have a raffle as to who to go to. Goes long to Charlie! Got up there, big Darcy Fort! Of all people!
Well, it just doesn't matter, Joey, who you kick it to in the Brisbane forward 50. They're all good in the air. And Cameron on that occasion did enough to bring it to ground, and it's just a matter of who's turning up. Darcy Ford on that occasion, but you can go to Loman, you can go to Rainey, you can go to Bailey. Any of them in the air are going to give a great account of themselves.
So you go to Charlie Cameron as your tall forward and Darcy Ford as your crummer.
Under pressure at that speed, it's beautiful, isn't it? And again, it's Zorko. I mean, this guy, he's almost demanding a tag now. I mean, what a night he's had again tonight, 19 disposals. 6 of those have become scores.
Just how quickly, watching them live, they react from when they're defending. As soon as they win the ball back, how quickly they transition into offence. They don't loiter back. They are off and gone, and they've got numbers everywhere.
Out of the middle, Chera's kick partially smothered. Wilmot just tumbles it back in the Loman direction, and then the flick hand pass was clever to Ashcroft, who was able to collect it. Fort. And the brothers Ashcroft combined, Levi to Will. Too far out to score. Plays on. Centering kick. McInerney there, waits for it. Cameron tries to spin his way out of the congestion. And a ball up.
I can smell some blood here, Brisbane. They do have the draw, so percentage not a factor, unless, of course, they get another draw. Chincotta kicked it into the back of his own man. And scramble. McInerney got a little handball up, and Lyman lays the tackle. So Cooper Lord, the sub for the Blues, warming up to maybe come on soon. Might as well pull that trigger. That was almost slapped out on the full. And the umpire says, have a look. Well, they can't check it. They're not allowed to go to the video for that. But they can have a conversation about it.
Played 20 tackles inside the forward 50 of Brisbane. Their PB is 28. Their hunt in the forward 50 is a delight to watch.
To Koning down the good, grabbed by Will Ashcroft, holding the pill.
Well, it's not one player. They don't pick one pressure forward. They pick a squad of 23 and say, when it's in the forward line, you're a pressure player. It's unbelievable.
They just smell blood tonight, don't they? They smell blood every time Carlton get the footy in their back half, particularly in the D50.
And in fairness to the Carlton defenders, you normally have 2 to 3 steps. Gee, they've been good.
So he's topped the disposals. He's now at 20. And looking for his second. After a great tackle. Can he convert it? No, he's glanced it to the left.
It's a fair set of brothers, though. Levi's probably the leader in the race for the Rising Star at the moment. Chip kick, dangerous. Dunkley cuts it off. Darcy fought the rover again. Hewitt, Chera, Carroll, Doherty, they're out. Young. It's got Charlie short. Hits him lace out. Curnow turns. Heads to the pocket. That is brilliant delivery. Moyer. And he needs to go back and finish the deal.
Curnow's been exceptional tonight in that facet of the game, getting up the ground, providing a target, then his ball use. Sometimes been a bit hit and miss. Tonight has been excellent. And that was a great spot because Moyer had worked really hard to get into the pocket on his own.
That's why I want him to get more than 10, Joey. They can use him a bit higher, Charlie. They don't have the skill level to leave him deep forward.
Game 5, pick 29 back in 2023's draft. The number carries a bit of weight.
He's missed it.
Carlton subs been made down here, guys. Fantasia off with a hamstring. Cooper Lord into the game.
Wilmot. Levi Ashcroft. A little bit of dancing around in the phone booth, but he eventually works his way out of it to Gardner and Neal. With Lohman up the ground, if he wants to use him, he's going to go laterally. Andrews. Now Lohman. The flowing locks. So Lohman's kick towards half forward. Morris couldn't quite drag it in. Tried to catch it. The second attempt on the ground. Chera's kick to Moyer. Fends off Lohman. Quick hands to Hollins. Then Carroll up against the boundary. And how will the umpire see this? Throw it in, he says.
Carroll got some luck this year. Was on the rookie list last season. Didn't get a game. Was delisted. And then added back onto the rookie list at the last minute. Before team lists had to be in at the start of this year. Holding, Cripps free, and Hewitt not allowed to play onto advantage. Or maybe given the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't an advantage.
Let's have a look how many blocks are put on for Charlie Curnow here. To see if he can free up your trump card. Or does he have to do it all by himself?
Cripps tried to dance step on Lockie Neal. He didn't buy it. And it turns over to Wilmot. Got all the answers to lines. That was brilliant. Neal knew exactly what Cripps was trying to do to him. And out wide. She comes down to get on the end of it. So all lending a hand in defence when they need to. The switch to Gardner.
Gardner to Neal. So plenty of instructions to think about, and then he just decides to chip one. Cut off by O'Farrell, and then Curnow off a step to Coning. And he marked one against Gardner, he couldn't. Coming through McGovern. Can he pick it up? Second attempt he does, and then tries to rifle one towards Fogarty, who marked it mostly. So Fogarty to go back for his 10th goal this year from 25 metres out.
Should kick this. I mean, they're working hard, Carlton. Nothing's easy for them at the moment. Their ball movement's been questioned all season. They just need to finish this.
Hasn't had a kick all night. He's had 5 disposals. Is the first kick going to be a goal, the former Cat? No.
That is the knock on Fogarty. We know he gives great effort, but he hardly kicks goals for a small forward. He's last 3 or 4 years doesn't really hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, 7 possessions, no score last week. Lucky Fogarty. And here they go down to spine again. Starcevic gets up. Eyes are darting. He wants to go. Wilmot. A fan out wide. Levi Ashcroft. Archie looks inside. Back to Zorko. The ageless Dane Zorko. He heads to the pocket. Hipwood's out there. Off hands. Cripps fumbled it. Free kick, push. O'Farrell. It's a free in the back pocket.
Gee, the movement though. The movement from Brisbane. Every player on the move. Everyone's an option. And then you flip the coin here to Carlton. There's one target only with number 30 on.
They couldn't mark at that time. Chera out to Lord, subbed on. Sits it out for Fogarty. Fogarty's kick. Slewed off the side, straight to Gardner. Just those skill errors again coming to the fore. Zorko goes short to Berry.
Just look at them here. On the move, hunting corridor.
So Fletcher palms it off. Berry. Quick kick towards offensive 50 there. Coming out to meet it is Lohman. He wheels and goes. And the kick, deliberate or not deliberate, it's found Rayner.
Oh, it was deliberate, all right. He knew exactly what he was doing. They are just on song, the Brisbane Lions.
He's kicked one. And he's returned 17 disposals tonight. So into the field of play. And that's splendid off the boot. Just caresses it around the corner for his second.
Well, they just make it look so easy the way they move the ball, the Brisbane Lions. But it's not. And if it was, every team would be just playing like this in the competition. But they just see it, they hit it, they turn, they don't hold on to it for very long. If there's not a kick on, they give the handball receive. And they just continue to move and trust their kick. And even here from Lohman, he knew what he was doing. He knew that Rayner was out. So he wheels, he waits, pulls it late. They've got so many players that are at the top of their game at the moment with their ability to execute their skills, move the ball. They're all in sync. Not many teams can stop them.
Well, the competition needs to wake up. The Lions have changed. In the last 4 to 5 weeks, they've become a go-forward, aggressive team, corridor, take risk, back talent. It's a different version of what we saw in the first dozen weeks.
And they can kill you quick. So Carlton get within 2 goals halfway through the second term. The Lions have kicked the last 7 goals of the game. 7 in a row. And so the umpire, after a reset, will now ask for a reset. Flung in the air. Thought, hit net. Lockie Neal held off the ball. So free kick to Brisbane. And he heads long. Morrison under it in a one-on-one. Carroll got a fist on it. Rayner weaves his way through the traffic again. He's too strong to the goal square. Charlie! So many threats. No! Umpire says it's against you, Charlie. It looks could kill.
Wiedering with all the commotion called to play on. Not 15, so Haynes back to Wiedering and then Cowan. Got plenty of time for a jog. Kick outside looking for Williams, but marked by Dunkley. And then gets on with it quickly, floats it. Neal trying to snaffle it. Grabbed by Williams, Doherty, not the required. Carroll, Chera, Corridor, DeConing. Less than a minute to play. Some Bronx cheers, which is interesting. Just let that settle. Haynes to Hewitt. Hewitt back to Doherty. He's been in the wars with some blood rules tonight. To Motlop. Centre into Hollins. And then working the key out in the Lord direction. Not the right kick in the end. Berry retreats back. He's got Fogarty putting some pressure on and Lord Archie. Quick fire handball to Zorko, but they're going to think their way out of this again, the Lions, as Berry leaves defensive 50 down the line looking for McCluggage. Fell to Morris. Over the top, they're out again. Cameron, but it's going to be the siren beats them. Well, nothing bar the siren would beat them tonight. So, going great guns, the Lions. Cam Rayner with a rise smile on his face. He's kicked 2. And not a lot to laugh about for the Blues at the moment. So it is Brisbane by 52 at three-quarter time. And what about tomorrow night? Big tests for both sides, the Gold Coast and Collingwood from...
All right, folks, there we go. Three-quarter time here. 52-point margin out to the Lions. Carlton, I tell you what, I don't know how many chances Carlton are going to have in front of goal. Just set shots, easy shots, and they just can't put it through the big sticks. Carlton just putting on 4 behinds in that third term. Should have been at least 3 easy goals in that third term. I tell you what, the Brisbane Lions put on 4 goals too. They're in cruise mode. Carlton, well, occasionally they're looking like they're doing a couple of good passages of play, but still they struggle so much to get it out of their back half, whereas the Lions seem to transition the ball quite comfortably and going down their forward line. It's just a lot more open, more accessible for the Brisbane mids to deliver the ball inside the forward 50 to the Lions, whereas Carlton is a little bit more congested and a little bit harder to get their chances. But when they do get the chances and they do grab that mark, I tell you what, they're just not kicking straight. And it's just not reward for the work, the hard work that they're still trying to do. Carlton out there, they're still trying their best, but the Brisbane Lions here tonight, well, they're just a little bit too classy. The way they finish decisions and all, Carlton is still a little bit more classy. Looking at the goal scorers, my gosh, this is slow to load up. Sorry, folks. There we go. Come on, get over to the goals. There we go. Let's check out. Hey, Joe Zella in Hong Kong. Shouty to the guapa that's in the house. The famous Joe Zella. Joe Zella, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. I must pop in and say good day over in your live. I must do that when I'm not too busy. I'll pop on over. Thanks for dropping on in. Good to see you. But this is Aussie Rules Football, the greatest game in the world, of course, Charlie Cameron. Did you know Charlie Cameron's leading the way out there with 3 goals? He didn't add to his tally in the third term, but he is still leading the way on 3 goals. 2, Cam Rayner 2, Logan Morris up to 2, Hugh McCluggage, Loman Hitwood 4. Tell you what, there's a few goal scorers there for Brisbane. I need to just roll this down a little bit. Jared Berry, Zach Bailey, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft, all singles, and for Carlton, Pinay still on 2 goals. Zach Williams, Fantasia, Durden, and Cripps. Not too many goal scorers there for the Blue Baggers. Whereas Brisbane, it's like half their team have kicked a goal. Can you believe it? The ball magnets, Dane Zorko, Lockie Neal, couple of stars for the Lions. They've lifted their game, certainly, and they are top on the table with 23 up until three-quarter time. Lockie Neal working hard there with 6 tackles and 5 clearances. Paddy Cripps still tops the table there for the Blues on three-quarter time with 22 touches. Well, come on, Paddy. We need a big quarter from you in the final quarter. 8 clearances Paddy's had, so pretty good. Darcy Wilmot, 21 with Dunkley, Kera and Ashcroft. There we go. Cam Rayner, he's like a man-made tank, isn't he? He's up to 19. 2 goals. Let's just roll on down a little bit because we are about to head back down to the commentators to head into the final term here, whereas big margins to Brisbane Lions. Look, I think it'll be interesting to see in this final term, can Brisbane continue to stretch this lead and put Carlton to bed right away, build on this margin, not easing up at all, or can Carlton actually show a little bit of grit, fight and pride in their game to reduce this margin of 52 points? That's a big margin. Starting to get a little bit embarrassing there for Carlton, 52 points of margin. Lions doubled their score at the moment. But I tell you what, Carlton, they just haven't had their kick and boots on when they've had the opportunity. 6 goals, 10. Should have been probably an extra 6 goals on the Carlton if they had a kick straight there. But 15-8, Lions kicking pretty straight. 98, Carlton 6-10-46. Tell you what, it's going to be an interesting final quarter. As I said, will Carlton show a little bit of fight, or will the Lions continue to stretch the lead? Let's head back down to the ground for the final quarter, where it's the Brisbane Lions by 52 points.
They can go slow, they're controlled. But Chris Fagan said tonight, once they get in that middle, they want to go fast, they want to be dangerous. And they get it in there. Now, this is a small, bringing the ball to ground, and that's a tall, getting a front and square goal. It doesn't matter who you are, you just got to play your role. I love this team at the moment. They're so fun to watch.
And there is Camerona, just another one of these players that's got presence about him tonight. Love his physicality, some of his ground balls and his ability to break tackles. Again, the 19 disposals, 2 goals. Finding more consistency in his game, a lot like Zach Bailey. They're going to be pivotal players come finals time, right at the peak of their powers. Another one's been excellent tonight.
I'm in awe of the captain at Carlton. I think he's been terrific tonight, Patrick Cripps. He really has. I mean, he's been a one-man band in the middle. His pressure and contest work has been terrific. 22 disposals, 8 clearances, 7 score involvements. It's probably the best game for his year. I know he was huge against the West Coast, 8 to 10 weeks ago, but tonight, when a club's under pressure like this, to stand up like he has, I dip my lid to him. 52 points, it's a big number, and the margins become important in moments like this. You need to fight this game out if you're Carlton. As I said, Vossi's only had 1 loss north of 10 goals in his tenure at Carlton. It can't go that way tonight.
What do Brisbane do, King? Do they put their foot down here?
Yeah, they're a serious footy team. They want for more.
So it was 13 at quarter time, 30 at half time, 52 at three-quarter time. McInerney with the first fist down to Rayner. Then Will Ashcroft and then McCluggage. First entry inside 50 towards Cameron. And he's going to get a free kick against Carroll. It's happening straight away.
Yeah, you can't blame Carroll for that, because really he has no other option but to give away the free kick to deny. Such is the quality of the ball users. I mean, that is exactly where you want the ball. McCluggage just puts it to the absolute advantage of his small leading forward.
So Cameron has kicked 3 goals 2 tonight. Comes in with that deliberate approach. He's starting at left and hits the post.
You'd be disappointed, Charlie. It could have been a night for him to fill his boots with the ball supply and the way that it's coming in.
Putting his hands on it a lot more this end of the season than he was at the start, which is good news as well. DeConing got there late. Handed it off to Cripps. Pitternet, Motlop, caught in the jam. Back to Pitternet. And he's the meat and the sandwich.
And that's what we're talking about, the ability to get that ball from inside traffic to outside. Carlton they just cannot seem to connect their handballing.
Cripps couldn't trap it. Cowan again. Look at 3 come at him. And it was high. So Cowan could take the free on the wing.
Cowan, 18 touches. Haynes. Collins. So what's the next option here? There's a couple of one-on-ones. It falls to Williams, then to Cripps. Handball not effective enough. Then has to go the fist to try and get it to Hewitt. Cut off by Wilmot. And Wilmot sees a man over the top. Forts holds his ground, and then Berry with the handball. Just a little bit hot for McCluggage, so Carlton regain the football. Williams to Doherty going for a lope along the wing. Spears it towards Curnow. Not quite, just enough pressure put on him, and then he has to get rid of it. He does so to Williams. Hurried snap to Coney. He can go back from about 35 metres out here. 9 touches.
It's not a great converter from outside 30. 1 goal, 5 and 1 complete miss. So 1 from 7.
DeConing is going to split the middle that time. So gives the Carlton supporters something to cheer about early in the final term. Back to 47 points.
Yeah, well done. Sometimes difficult games like these to keep pushing, keep fighting. He worked hard. He got a couple of opportunities in that same possession chain there and found himself in the forward 50. Never easy in games like this to fight it out. Brings it back to 47. Go again.
Broke a run of 7 Lions goals in a row.
Matt Carroll, the one that intercept possession through the middle of the ground. So even though he's made some mistakes, we've highlighted them, but he's had 6 intercept possessions. Harry O'Farrell's had 8, so the 2 youngsters have had 14 intercept possessions combined back there. So again, there are some signs for some young Blues. Spoke about Moyer as well. This is the opportunity for them late in the season.
And the restart. Hewitt feeds a handball out. Pitnet's not your run and carry kind of guy from the clearance. Wilmot back to the big O. Clever pat down. Dunkley got it from the knockdown but couldn't find a teammate with it. Lord, sub now on, hits wide to Durden. Gets there and collects and goes. Hands it to Charlie. This is right in his wheelhouse here. He turns. He thought about it. Durden pokes into the pocket to Connor. And he can't keep it alive. Back into the lineup this week. That's Shin Cotter as Michael Voss works the phone.
So De Koning up against McInerney this time. De Koning wetting at the back. Then Lord's kick smothered McCluggage, just working overtime again and eventually forced out.
Pretty even spread of contributors across the board for the Lions tonight. Pretty difficult to isolate one player that's been the difference. They've probably had half a dozen that have been at the same elite level.
In 24 possessions for Lockie Neal. He's had the lion's share of the lion's share, if you like, from the scramble.
Zorko's been pretty good. Will Ashcroft.
Yeah.
Rayner, when he gets it, hits the scoreboard.
Oscar, Tom, clear out that, please. George, clear out.
And the big O back into the lineup. They're running with 2 rucks tonight. Will they continue to do that for the season? Lord, Cowan, wobbles it, and that'll work. So Hewitt gets a chance to wallpaper over some cracks here.
Well, it still is important to wallpaper though, Dwayne, because margins matter in games like this. When your club's at the state that Carlton are in, 50 and 56 points the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. 47 now.
Yeah.
Lost their last 3 games in a row. The loss against Port Adelaide, you'd argue, was a lot worse than last week's loss. And that looks good off the boot. The Blues fans that are stuck around got something to cheer there.
There's a clever kick from Cowan. He's done that a couple of times now, being able to pull his kicks, change angles. That's what Carlton have been crying out for the majority of the season. They've missed some of those creative kicks in their team, but you can see here it was Hewitt. We read the cues. He read that his team had won the footy, so he slipped out the back. That's what you can do in that situation, and great vision by Cowan to be able to spot him. Pulled that kick late. Nice touch. Neil a bit sore.
Hewitt. Cripps. Taken by Dunkley. So McInerney. Pinballs around Williams and Hewitt. Inside 50, McGovern hit it really hard and takes the mark. Well, this is positive from Carlton, looking to really run this match out.
That's almost a perfect scenario for the Blues, the way they'd set the field. They had 3 high half forwards up around the stoppage, and the other 3 forwards, the tools all pulled deep. So there was all that space. If they did come out the front, Hewitt was able to, and then he knew if he just poked it into that space that one of the forwards would lead onto it. If it wasn't Curnow, it was going to be McGovern.
So McGovern looking to be the 8th individual goal kicker tonight for the Blues. And that's perfect. So they reduce it after it was 52 at three-quarter time. It's back to 35 points.
Got to keep fighting. It's just got to keep fighting. It's not, it's not easy, as we said, Joey, at this stage, but that's good play. I mean, that's the sort of quality that you're talking about. That's good setup forward of the ball. It has looked a bit congested. They haven't really come out the front of stoppage very often tonight. Being able to link and get that player into space has been a real challenge.
Port Adelaide did this against the Lions last week. Gave them a last quarter scare, gave them a run. The Lions, they do have a draw, so it will be interesting to see if they do put the cue in the rack. There's a couple of the 10 missing Blues, Saab, Silvani, Walsh, Mackay, Newman, Cottrell, Kemp, Jagger Smith, obviously. They are fighting this out by the looks of it, which is good news. Zorko got rid of Fogarty with ease and a spear pass. Delightful. McInerney always looking to go. The Lions. Puts it up high. Who's going to be the leaper? Morris stayed down. Haynes to the front. Lord, handball smothered. Hipwood picked his pocket. Lyman danced outside. Got away. Sends it up high. Hipwood under it. Got it. Big Eric. Hands like a vice.
In the corridor early again because of Zorko. I know we've been on a lot about the same players and we fall in love with the same type of players, but he's moved to halfback a couple of years ago, 18 months ago. Has been unbelievable returns for Chris Fagan and the defensive profile that quickly becomes their aggressive counter-punch game off halfback.
The Lions have the Dogs at the Gabba next week. Games just keep getting bigger and bigger for those in contention. And Eric has missed to the near side.
So Cowan thumps it out of defensive 50. Curnow with a couple to beat. Dunkley went down hard. That's the free kick for high contact. So to Zorko, who's a beautiful kick of the football. Bailey went before acceptances, gives away a free kick.
It was a perfect kick from Zorko. Unfortunately, Zach Bailey probably ruined it by the unrealistic attempt.
Berry couldn't clutch it. Hewitt got some life here, the Blues, to fight this all the way out. Over the head of De Koning, couldn't get there. Startovich does. Burns off to Koning, hits wide. A little float on it, but it's been marked with ease by Berry. Inside kick is good. Will Ashcroft. Wilmot. No hurry really for the Lions now. Don't need to do anything crazy. Although maybe something crazy in the air. Almost O'Farrell. Dropped it. McCluggage gave it to Motlop. Turns away from the traffic in the back pocket. Gets under it a little. Charlie. He's fought the fight tonight, Charlie. Held up. And he's cooked.
Another cuts him no slack. Another one of the tackles that Moons are talking about. They've just stuck them all night.
Dunkley's kick. There's plenty of Lions here. Young Morris has the football. He's kicked 2 tonight, along with the 7 disposals. This is a little bit more complicated. Just has to work it around from the boundary. And he's going to make sure he uses up every second of the clock. Comes around. And he may have just registered it behind here. He has. As Hollands gets on with it, they're looking to run it out hard here, the Blues.
Heads in the De Koning direction. got hands on it, couldn't mark it. Hewitt, good crumb. Cincotta, great tackle. Another one of those. I'm going to bury your tackles. Dunkley gets to his feet. It's almost an honour to be tagged by him these days. Who gets the honour of having him go to you? It's been Cripps for the majority of the night tonight. McCluggage wide. Berry, the hatchet. Took his ear down and gets a shot at goal now. Hands it off to Rayner. Across the face a little. Lyman got up there with a hand and it's through for a behind.
25 touches for Dunkley and 12 tackles. Hollands. If they go, no Mark Lord or Curnow and out. So as Don mentioned, the games get bigger for the Lions, but they're in really good shape, Joey.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're in sync now. They can smell September coming. It's a bit shaky parts of the season. Now they're getting rolling.
It's not too bad. They've got 14 players out there tonight that's played every game for the year. Motlop. Just a hack and go. Rayner fighting tenaciously.
Again, it's their scoring power that we'll probably talk about at the completion of this match. Triple figures again. They're really rolling now. I mean, conversion's the only thing that's stopping them hitting triple figures the last 5 weeks, really. So the Dogs at the Gabba, and then the Gold Coast and a huge Q clash on the Gold Coast, and then Collingwood at the MCG. It's got to be some fun footy to watch on Fox Footy in the coming weeks. Chera heads in the Curnow direction. He gets up there. Andrews, well, he was content to take a little bit of arm, a little bit of ear, a little bit of ball there. Ford and De Koning. Perfect palm down to Neil. And that's on the full off the boot of Cripps. And that'll be a free kick to Lachie Neil. And it'll be possession number 26.
So Bailey's going to switch it to Andrews. Out to Zorko. Even under a little bit of pressure. It was perfect to Starcevic. Cameron. Levi Ashcroft. Wilmot. Looping one over the top to Fletcher. They're well and truly open here, the Lions, as Archie from 52. He lets rip, and it's into the first row as Hipwood was decked.
Tough night to do the voting for the Robert Walls medal. The late great player and coach of both clubs. The inaugural, so that'll be taking place at the conclusion of this. Zorko the slap down, Neil. Carroll. Hollands. Knows he's got Lord out wide. Thumps it long, dump late. Moyer's got a couple of feet. Wilmot drifts across the face. And here they go again. Fletcher. The big Darcy Thorpe, who gets himself 50. He might have a crack at goal. Kick one earlier. Will this bring him within range? He just pops it up. He's going for Hipwood. Lyman. Lopes. Lurks. Gibbs. Morris. It's not shell and peas at the moment out there. Just messing around. Williams. Chera. Gets around. Darcy Fort goes inside to Young. To the feet of Motlop. Had the dexterity to pick it up. What was it out wide? Moyer against the grain. The Chera. Inside kick. Overcooked it. And here they go again. Lachie Neil pounces. Add another possession to the tally.
Yeah, they're just racking up, aren't they?
And another very even night from a lot of Brisbane Lions. Neil, Zorko, Will Ashcroft, Dunkley, Rayner, McCluggage, Bailey. They've had a stack that have all been very good.
And Kingy on the other side with the message at three-quarter time is we don't want to see a dropped head at any stage. Just play it right out.
Yeah. And as we keep saying, the margin is important when your club's in the phase they're in at the moment, Carlton. Support the coach, help them in the last.
So Lohman loves to wheel and go. He's going to prop it up this time. Up they go, no mark, not lob at the back. He just retreats clearly deliberately, and they're going to pay it too. So Bailey's going to come up with the free kick.
Yeah, that was because he was outside the 9-metre zone. He was outside the square.
18 touches, 1 goal, 3. Can he add a little bit of cream on the cake? It's a strange old kick in the end and rifle it into the post.
Just outside the 9, you're right.
Collins. That's just a small forward ensuring he never plays back.
Well, DeConey's gone down and been taken down.
They're walking wounded down here at the moment, Carlton. Curno's just come off with a nice poke to the eye, so he's on the bench. Has been for the last couple of minutes. He doesn't look too flash either, guys.
DeConey mongrels that in the pit net direction. Got double hands on it, but couldn't take the mark. Flung out. Hewitt. Williams. Speaking of small forwards, they've got Durden now back into the lineup. He can't pounce on it. He can pounce on it. And he might pay his way. No. Leicester gets in a hole. They have had their small forward issues, Carlton. They recruited Will White last second before the season started to try and fix that problem, which is a bit like buying flowers from the service station on the way home on your anniversary night. I probably should have thought it through a bit earlier. But Durden back in, at least, has tried to give him something. High bomb. And O'Farrell takes the mark, and he can have a crack for his first ever AFL goal.
When you say these things, Wayne, I think you've made all these mistakes yourself.
I think Benny Listy would have related to that last one.
So Harry O'Farrell, game 3. His first goal in AFL footy. He can't nail it. Through for another behind. They celebrate again. Harris Andrews celebrating every little thing he can celebrate right now, the co-captain.
Yeah, well, that's right. They value defence. And it's probably an underrated facet of their game, how often they win the pressure rating.
Zorko's usually a magnificent kick, but he's rifled that straight onto the sternum of Chin Cotter, who goes short to Hewitt.
Yeah, you're going to have to wear a few of those if you're going to play with that sort of aggression.
And he plays on quickly to Williams.
One umpire was going to say play on. He was going to call no 15. The other umpire did.
Sometimes it's the players too. It's hard to tell. He's worked hard, Zach Williams, again tonight.
He kicked a goal very early on in the piece for the Blues. Can he book in tonight, at least with a couple of goals on his ledger? It's going to just make the distance, but to the left.
A lot of Blues fans are stuck around, which is great to see. Been a tough year for the Carlton faithful. As I mentioned this time last season, Carlton was second. 11 wins, 5 losses. And Zorko heads wide to Morris. But not only want to fight this game out, but want to fight the season out if they can, the Blues. Still a lot to be gained. Morris wide. Fought. Gets there. Pit net. Picked his pocket. Gave it off. Hewitt. Carroll. Lord. Back inside 50. Andrews gets there with ease. He read that the moment it left the boot.
Wilmot running hard through the corridor as he always does, out to Dunkley with plenty of space, and that kick lace out to Archie. Plenty of goal kickers for Brisbane tonight. Callum hasn't got one through the big sticks yet. He's had 15 touches of the pill. So Calamachi. He was kicked 4 in a grand final. Off hands. Rayner. Puts pay to Cowan and a ball up. McInerney down to Cripps, who's fought hard. Round the body. Blues have the numbers here, but Fletcher's marked it. So Jasper Fletcher, who still a work in progress. Joey match 58, but boy, he's going to be one of their big stars this years to come.
Rightly on about it again tonight. I reckon he's got the journey here.
He deliberately pokes it towards the pocket. Rayner came from the clouds, couldn't quite mark it. Off hands Carroll, his handball almost to Starcevic, but then Haynes read it better, and now Hewitt's blazing through the middle, and he's going to look for Curnow and found him.
So he's got Durden out wide. He just overcooked it a little. There's so many stars for the Lions. Berry's been superb. Dunkley's been magnificent. Morris just seems to pop up every time they need a goal or a saving mark. Back to Wilmot.
It is the old-fashioned team effort, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it's a bit of a cop-out because Jason Dunstall has to do some parts.
That's right.
Feel sorry for him for the inaugural Walls medal, but gee, you can pick any of the Brisbane Lions, really.
There's half a dozen of them that easily could be the best player on the ground.
So Bailey back to Neil, back to Harris Andrews. It's a possession fest at the moment for the Lions.
In saying that, I'll be very interested to see who writes down blank. Not shy of giving us feedback, Jason.
No, wouldn't want to get it wrong.
Is he the sole judge?
I'm not having a bar of that. Stay well out of it. Gardner, Neil. Takes on his man. And he's got an embarrassment of riches down there. Bailey and Morris, they even have a giggle about it, and Bailey can go back for a set shot.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of them. Neil, again, just gone about his business, done what he's done for about 12 years. This man could have, again, had a huge night. 1 goal, 4. He's had plenty of looks at it, over 20 disposals. Zorko's been excellent. Ashcroft and Dunkley. Even Cam Rayner, we really liked his game tonight.
So can he make his ledger look a little bit neater? 1 goal, 4 for Bailey. Whoops. That's going to miss everything.
Tonight, though, to have another 6 shots at goal, playing wing half forward.
So Ollie Collins has got up there for the 20 touches as well. Up they go. Moyer at the back. McInerney pummels the handball. Ricochets around. Wilmot's hurried kick. Neil overruns it. Grabbed by Motlop in the closing stages. Tunnel kick towards Moyer. Hewitt to Koning. Handball in the middle. Chincotta. Grabbed by Berry and wrapped up with 22 seconds to play. So they've come in 12th v 2 tonight, with Carlton hosting the Lions. And after a frenetic start where it was 13 at quarter time, 30 at half time, things have blown out. But to their credit, Carlton have fought this out in front of 32,898 late in the piece, back to 37 points now. McInerney down to Will Ashcroft in the closing exchanges. So another ball up. And that'll just about be it. 1 second to go through the motions of the ball up. So it'll be Fitnet at McInerney with the final exchange. And they are roaring. Brisbane are roaring towards September. They're in magnificent shape. as they dispose of Carlton on a Thursday night. Chris Fagan looks a pretty content man as he just watches on from the boundary line there. There he is with Noah Answorth, who's been the sad story of the night. He was building up to such a fantastic year, Noah Answorth, an ACL injury, as we head down to camp.
Oh, thanks very much, Ellie. Well, Zorks, he talked about having a win like that on a really short break, but you didn't get to train. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a huge effort. It's our third 5-dayer, and we've learned every single time of how we need to prepare for it. So we didn't do a lot of training, but what we did was refine what we needed to and to execute like that tonight. Against the team we're under no illusions. Like, they've copped it a fair bit, and we knew they were going to respond, but really proud of the boys' efforts tonight.
Your pressure game tonight as a whole was exceptional, and David King and the boys upstairs, Joey Matane, talked about just the way that you hunted, you pressured, you tackled, and when you hit hard.
Yeah, it helps when you got guys like Josh Dunkley and Cam Rayner. But look, collectively as a unit, I thought we defended really well. I thought we had over 20 tackles inside 50 tonight, which might be a record. So really proud of those forward boys for locking that ball in and then getting some scores off the back of it.
What drives this team now for the next 6 weeks? What do you got to do to make sure that you're cherry right?
We just got to keep refining what we're doing. I think, Moons, it's really important that you keep trying to get better, and clearly Collingwood's the benchmark at the moment, and everyone's chasing them. But we'll just keep plugging away, doing what we need to do, and off the back of performances like that, we'll get a lot of growth and we'll get a lot of improvement as well.
When you look into the forward line, you've got so many options. It must be an absolute treat for you at the moment.
Yeah, look, it's obviously nice, but I was really impressed with Charlie's efforts tonight. He cops it a fair bit because he hasn't kicked the goals that he has in the past potentially, but geez, his pressure tonight was unbelievable, and then he got on the back of it and kicked some really important goals for us. So really proud of his efforts, but it's always nice when the boys down there pressure first and then get the score off the back of that.
When was the last time you saw Big Darcy fought to a front and square goal?
Oh, unbelievable. We're not going to hear the end of this. Look, to be honest, it was great to have O back tonight, but Darcy's done a terrific job over the last 8 to 10 weeks, and it's probably the first time in his career that he's actually had some continuity in his game, where each week he's been able to play. Last year off the grand final, he was coming in off the back of about 6 games in 15 weeks, so to do what he did in the grand final was enormous, but to really see him grow each and every week this year has been enormous, and great for him to get a goal tonight.
Oh, mate, go and enjoy it. There might be a medal around you next soon, who knows?
Terrific, Moons. Well, that wasn't on the bingo card, I must admit. A roving goal from Fort the Ruckman and Pitnet kicking a torp outside 55. They both weren't on the bingo cards.
Good night for the Ruckman. And I tell you what, that's as good a victory as you'll see. 103-66, Carlton. You'll just move past it in 2 or 3 weeks, Joey, but that was pretty strong and pretty powerful, the way they move the ball and the way they hunt. So let's head down to ground level. We'll have the presentation for the Robert Walls medal. Cam Mooney giving Dane Zorko a little bit of a push. Let's find out.
This year, the Carlton and Brisbane football clubs joined to honour the late Robert Walls by introducing a medal in his name. Each time these two teams play against each other, the Robert Walls medal will be awarded to the player that best embodies the values upheld by Robert Walls throughout his playing and coaching career at both clubs. This year, the inaugural Robert Walls medal will be presented by son Daniel. So a big welcome to Daniel for being with us here tonight. The inaugural Robert Walls medal goes to Josh Dunkley.
Firstly, just wanted to say thank you and an absolute honour to win the first one of these. It's unbelievable. Thanks to the Carlton boys for coming out tonight. It was a great game and well done to our boys. Great win. I'm not used to this stuff, so thank you.
Big congratulations to Josh, and thanks again everyone for coming along. Get home safely.
Well, he's done some unique things in his career, Josh Dunkley. He became the 32nd player of all time to win 2 flags with 2 separate clubs, and he's taken out the first Robert Walls medal.
Well, it epitomises the Robert Walls. I mean, Michael Voss said pre-game, you want to give it to someone who's tough. If well, it's going to be named after Robert Walls.
Tackles.
And I think they've gone with that criteria for the way that Josh Dunkley went about it tonight. 14 contested possessions, the most, second most for Brisbane, third most after Hewitt and Cripps, but the 13 tackles. He was going head-to-head with Cripps. He did a bit of everything tonight, Josh Dunkley, and worthy winner. As we said, you could have thrown a blanket over about 6 Brisbane Lions players, so no dispute there. He was terrific, as were a lot of them.
I noted in your commentary tonight, Joey, just saying you're watching them live, because you obviously don't get to see them live every single week, but you're almost surprised at how good they were live.
I think their offence and seeing the transition and the way they react, I mean, we can see them on the TV and the way they play, but being here watching them be able to take off when they win the ball back from half back, I mean, their ball movement, everyone sees the kicking skills, but you've got to get players in the right positions to be able to use those skills, and they are all on the same page when they win it. They all get forward of the ball to provide an option, knowing that even if they don't get involved, they're going to set themselves up to then be able to play their sort of forward half press game, but more often than not, they execute. They could leave themselves vulnerable if they turn the ball over, but it's rare. And they're just all in sync. They're all on the same page. If they can't go through the corridor and can't go quick, they always have someone lateral or backwards they can release to and start again. And then their hunt, the stuff that probably gets underrated with the best teams in the competition, whether it is Collingwood or Brisbane Lions and Adelaide Crows this year, Gold Coast, it's their pressure. It's their hunt to want to get after the opposition, to out-pressure the opposition and win the ball back more often than not. Probably something we don't talk about enough with the top teams in the competition, but we saw that again from Brisbane tonight. Nearly every week this year, Matty Hill, they've out-pressured their opposition. They don't play in the highest pressure games, but when they do, they outperform them, and that's why they're sitting, there you go, second on the ladder.
And as far as Carlton is concerned, effort was the big word coming into tonight. They've shown that. It was just purely outclassed by a very good team.
Yeah, some numbers, that they can look and tick off. I mean, they won the clearance battle by 8 against Brisbane. They won the ground ball by 26. So that is hunting after the footy, showing some intent, getting after it. But as Kingy said for a number of times throughout the call, being able to use, once they won that ground ball, use their numbers to get really efficient looks. They haven't quite got the same system that Brisbane had, where Brisbane do it more with quality. When they do win it, they're out and they transition the ball as good as any team in the competition. And Carlton tried hard, but just lacked a bit of class and lacked the system that the Brisbane Lions have.
And Duano, that fast movement of the football, we love calling that stuff.
They're a fun watch.
They are.
And they are trying to, well, Joey and Kingy spoke to Chris Fagan pre-game about the fact that they're evolving during this season to make their game style even better the closer September comes, which I think we saw tonight. At one stage, they led by 57 points, so they did, blow this game away. About halfway, they kicked 7 goals in a row at one stage. 53 points was the biggest margin. And they don't have a long injury list. Noah Answorth now on that injury list, but Kadeem Coleman, Jack Payne, Lincoln McCarthy, the others.
And putting on a brave face, and the man he was just having a giggle with was the man that ultimately had to put the brave face on in the grand final, Oscar McInerney. He was the worst version of FOMO possible in that grand final, wasn't he?
Yeah, he understands what it means. He's been there, and you can see their run. It's pretty tough, so they're going to get a good look at some of their finals contenders they're probably going to come up against, particularly the next 3 weeks, and then there's Fremantle and Hawthorn to finish, so it is tough, but I don't think any team phases the Brisbane Lions. They've been there, done it. They're the reigning champs, and I think they'll thrive in the run home if they go 4-2. They're going to be top 4 and having another fair crack at going back to back.
Full analysis shortly down in the rooms with Jason Dunstall and David King as well. We'll have every angle covered, but we're just enjoying this victory with the Brisbane Lions as they're about to descend down the tunnel. Very happy Cam Rayner, and why not, had a decent night at the office as well.
All right, folks, while we wait for the Brisbane Lions to get down to the change rooms to sing their song, it was a pretty good effort there tonight from both teams. 15-13, 103, the Lions, 37-point winners over Carlton, 9-12, 66. The Lions putting on justified behinds in that final term. Carlton, however, 3 goals, 2 in the final term. So Carlton finally won that quarter in the last quarter. All right, let's have a quick look at the stats before we jump down to the rooms to listen to the boys sing their song. Of course, Charlie Cameron ended up with 3 goals for this evening. Cam Rayner, Logan Morris with 2. Hugh McCluggage, Kyle Lohman, Eric Hipwood, Darcy Fort, Jared Berry, Zach Bailey, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft with a single. And for the Blues, Mark Penney, Zach Williams. Mark Penney kicked 2, Zach Williams, McGovern, Hewitt, Fantasia, Durden, De Koning, Pat. We'll come back to the stats in just a moment. We'll just head down to the rooms while Brisbane sing the theme song. All right, so we'll come back to the commentators in just a moment for a little bit of a wrap-up on the game. That was the Brisbane Lions down, singing this theme song down in the room. Let's just have a look at the disposal count on the players. Who was that? It was George Hewitt, of course, for Carlton, top the table with 33 disposals. 13 kicks, 20 handballs, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 9 clearances and a goal. Fantastic game there by Georgie Hewitt. For the Brisbane Lions, Darcy Wilmot and Lockie Neal shared the honours there, both with 31. The only 3 players above 30 tonight out on the ground. Dane Zorko with 28. Josh Dunkley, the Robert Walls medalist, on 28, also with Will Ashcroft. There we go. Paddy Cripps, fantastic game from him too, with 26 for the Blues. As we head on down, Cam Rayner, 22 touches with the 2 goals. Jasper Fletcher had a pretty good game there. 22 touches, 13 kicks, 11 marks. So that was pretty good. Sam Doherty for the Blues on 21. McCluggage ended up with 18, 4 clearances. As we head on down a little bit, Zach Williams, I thought he might have got a couple more goals there for the Blues, but he just had 1 goal, 1 from his 14 disposals, 8 kicks for him. Tom De Koning, just a quiet game from him. 10 hit-outs, 2 clearances, 14 touches, 1 goal. Look, he was a little bit better in that final term. The first 3 quarters were pretty ordinary from him. All right, let's just keep rolling down some of the stats there. Eric Hipwood, the 10 touches. Same with Darcy Ford, both kicking a goal there for the Lions. Charlie Cameron ended up with 3 goals, 3 off his 8 kicks. So well done, Charlie. Good to see him getting a couple of goals there. Just looking at the team stats now. Of course, it was plus 39 to the Lions overall. Inside 50s, Carlton, there we go. Just want to have a look at their scoring shots. Carlton went inside 45 times. Well, they were probably 20% under their season average. 21 scoring shots for their 45 inside 50s, whereas the Brisbane Lions went inside 61 times. 16 more times than the Blues with their 28 scoring shots, so they did really, really good. They just found it a lot easier to transition and drive it deep into their forward line, did the Brisbane Lions. Their disposal efficiency was pretty up there as well at 76.8%, going above season average. Free kicks, well, the umpires had a fair bit of whistle blowing happening out there this evening. 20 to 25, Brisbane got the better of that tonight. They were plus 5, but the hit-outs, that went Carlton's favour. It was 45 to 40, Carlton by 5 there. Carlton did pretty well in the clearances. They were winning that, plus 8. They were 2 down in the centre clearance, so that was, that was pretty good by both sets of midfield there. 10 to 12 in the centre clearances. Brisbane were plus 2, but the stoppage clearances, Carlton did really well there. 27-17, they were plus 10 in that. Contested possession, well, Carlton, there we go. They were nice and tough at the ball, going above season average, so the coach will certainly be happy with that. 144, 113. Contested possession, plus 31. That's a fantastic number there for the Blues. Turnovers, both pretty similar there. There we go. Just looking at the uncontested possessions, of course, they were plus 64. Just controlled the ball a little bit more, and that represents the marks, of course, plus 61 in the marks to the Lions. However, Carlton did get on top, and at the end of the game, they were 18-14 marks inside 50. So that was pretty impressive to Carlton. Carlton just struggled. I tell you what, they just struggled kicking goals, kicking straight at GE. Michael Elder, how you doing? How you doing? He's saying yes. I think he's a Carlton supporter. Look, likely another Pies Lions grand final. I don't know about that. I really don't know if the Lions, will play the Magpies. There we go. Tackle count. It was pretty good to see. Lions, 69 tackles, going well above their average of 55. Carlton, they petered off a little bit in their tackle count, but just 8-20. Lions dominating the inside 50 tackles. That's what you got to bring, folks. You got to bring these figures here when you're playing a game and against a good side. You got to bring the pressure to the opposition. 20 tackles inside 50. That is fantastic pressure from the Lions forwards, keeping the ball locked in and then giving their little forwards a chance to score off the back of that. So that is fantastic numbers. Normally 11.5 is a season average for Brisbane, nearly doubling that, probably 90% there. Give a figure of about 90% up. So that is fantastic. Looking at the live ladder now, Addy G, Brisbane remain on second, and they'll be second after this week, of course. They are a game and a half clear of Adelaide, Geelong and Hawthorn, and of course Collingwood are a game and a half clear of Brisbane. So first and second secure on that part of the ladder at the moment, but the rest of the teams all fighting it out. Of course, I think for the last, let me just have a little bit of a gander there. We have got for the last 6 rounds of the home and away season, I think Brisbane Lions play all teams from 10th upwards. So it's going to be a tough run home for the Brisbane Lions. That's what I was saying about the other day. Geelong have got an easy run home, but that's not going to stand them in good stead for the finals, although Geelong will probably end up maybe second or third on the ladder, I would think. Possibly second, Geelong may end up on the ladder, but I tell you what, Brisbane Lions are going to be hard, tough going into the finals, whereas Geelong may not be. So there we go. That is ladder, and of course, Carlton still down there in 12th position, 24 points down there in 12th. Season over for them. They just got to find a little bit of will, a little bit of fight, and try and finish the season off, get a few things right before we go into next season's football. Of course, next week, these two teams have got, let me just have a little bit of a look. I did have a look. I tell you what, it's a tough game next Friday night. Not tomorrow night, next Friday night. Of course, Brisbane, they're back at home at the Gabba. They'll be taking on the Western Bulldogs. That's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game, I'll tell you what. That's going to be a game certainly not to miss because the top, let's just say, from second down to 9th or 10th, second down to 9th, I would say a lot of those positions will change over the coming few weeks. So it's going to be really, really exciting. And of course, Carlton will stay at home. They'll play at the MCG Saturday week. They'll take on Melbourne. So there's a very winnable game for Carlton next week. And of course, Brisbane. Tell you what, she's going to be a tough game next week for the Brisbane Lions. But back on the home turf, I tell you what, you know, when you want to be one of the best sides, you've got to sort of beat some of the best sides. That's what it's all about. You can't just beat the lower teams. You've got to beat the teams above you as well. Hey, don't forget, coming up, we've still got action-packed football coming up this weekend. Of course, tomorrow night, as Addy G said, Friday night and Saturday, our football coming up will be absolutely magnificent. I know you're still hoping for Freo. That is for sure. That's going to be a cracking game. Of course, tomorrow night, Friday night football, we've got the Gold Coast Suns taking on the mighty Collingwood football team up there at People's First Stadium in Brisbane. Should be a fantastic game. I actually haven't had a look at the odds for that game. I should just have a quick sneak peek at that game right now. What the odds are for that game, if it's up. No, I don't. Yes, I do. The Gold Coast Suns 204, Collingwood 181. I tell you what, I like that $2.04 for the Gold Coast Suns. I think the Gold Coast Suns can get the job done tomorrow night over the mighty Magpies. So that's coming up tomorrow night. And of course, Saturday, there's 4 games happening. We'll cover probably 3 of them, hopefully. And it all kicks off on Saturday, 1:20 p.m. Western Bulldogs taking on Adelaide. This is where some of the top 8 places are going to really chop and change. And it's going to be really fascinating next few weeks of football. Of course, Western Bulldogs taking on Adelaide. Straight after that game, GWS Giants taking on Geelong. It's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game at any stadium up there in Canberra, I think that is. And, of course, there's 2 more games on that evening. Of course, Richmond and Essendon and Fremantle Hawthorn. I think we're going to bypass the Richmond-Essendon game because that really doesn't have much value. We want to head over and watch the Fremantle Hawthorn game. That's going to be played at Optus Stadium. This is a game we pretty much, we expect Fremantle to win that game. I think Eddie G will be in the same thoughts there. I think this is a game that Fremantle will, there is just no question about this game. Fremantle have to win this game, absolutely. And I think if Fremantle win this game, this should just about jump them up into the top 8. I think it's a game they need to win. They have to win. And I think, I'd expect them to win over at home. That is for sure. And, of course, on Sunday to wrap up round 18, 3 more games coming up at just about 1 p.m. Melbourne time. Melbourne versus North Melbourne. Interesting game. Who wins that? Well, it doesn't really matter because they're both out of the 8. A little bit like St Kilda and Sydney, Marvel Stadium. That's where the Saints might get the job done over the Swans. And, of course, the last game of the round, Port Adelaide versus West Coast. Well, this should be just a shellacking in itself where Port Adelaide will get the job done. But I tell you what, Friday night and Saturday action football is mega games you don't want to miss because that is going to change the whole situation as we have a look. Let me just put it back on here. As I said, Collingwood sitting first, take on the Gold Coast Suns sitting 7th. The Western Bulldogs sitting 6th will take on Adelaide sitting 3rd. GWS Giants, there we go, sitting 8th, need a win as well to stay in the top 8. They play Geelong up there in 4th. And, of course, Fremantle trying to get their way back into the top 8, sitting 9th. They play the Hawks up there, who are sitting 5th on the ladder. So we are in for some fantastic games. So Fremantle can win Eddie G and the Gold Coast and the Giants lose. Freo will be in the top 8. I tell you what, if you want to be in the top 8 this year, you want to make sure you are, let's just say, sitting 7th at worst if Gold Coast are sitting 9th because the Gold Coast has still got that game up. I'm not sure whether I believe Gold Coast will be playing the game at the end of the round. Is that right? I'm just not sure when they're going to play that extra game, Gold Coast and Adelaide. No interest on Sunday. I tell you what, there's not much, there's not much real interest on Sunday in those games. But you know what, we'll cover them. I think just heading back to Sydney Swans. Sydney taking on St Kilda. Sydney still there, 3 games out. Look, I think it's pretty well impossible for Sydney to get their way back into the top 8. They're 3 games out, plus percentage just as good as 4 games. And I don't think these teams up here are going to lose 3 or 4 games. So I think the top 8 is settled between teams 1 and 9, from Collingwood down to Fremantle. Any of those teams can be in the top 8. It's just all who's going to vie for this. Hey, I tell you what, you just never know. Hawthorn could drop out. Western Bulldogs could drop out. The Giants, the Suns could drop out. The only good thing with the Adelaide Crows, their percentage is going to hold them in good stead. Geelong will certainly be there. They've got teams all outside of the top 8 after the GWS Giants. Their remaining home run is all teams 10th to 18th for Geelong. But it should be absolutely fantastic. Hey, it's games you don't want to miss. Tomorrow night, Friday night football. We'll be back here at about 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. And then it'll all kick off again Saturday at about 1:15 p.m. Melbourne time. But I tell you what, it wasn't a bad game here. Brisbane were just too strong on the night. I tell you what, Carlton did give a little bit of a yelp, folks. I think it's a little bit of a flattering scoreboard, 37-point margin to the Lions. Look, I think Carlton had plenty of chances. I said they had a lot of scoring opportunities, a lot of set shots where they just couldn't kick the ball straight. Maybe this is one thing they need to get have a little bit of practice on throughout the week of training. Set shots, stick someone on the mark, and try and hit that ball straight, because they're really struggling off the boot at set shots tonight, Carlton. They certainly did struggle, and they just missed goals. So, yeah, as I said, I think this scoreboard is quite flattering at 37 points, the margin, especially when the Lions got up over 50 points. That was definitely too flattering. And, of course, the Lions just, the Lions missed a couple, but Carlton missed... Look, probably out of their 12 behinds, there probably could have been 6 or 7, or maybe 7 of those should have been goals to Carlton, which would have brought the margin back to within maybe around the 10-point margin. That's probably where it should have been, somewhere there. That being said, Carlton were okay in some patches, but overall, the Brisbane Lions, they pretty much controlled the game this evening. And I think just some of their transition, going into their forward 50, it just looked a whole lot easier. There was just a lot more space created. The forwards made, and it gave the mids sort of a lot better options to slice the ball down to their forwards there, whereas Carlton just sort of had a little bit of trouble going in their forward 50, Eddie. And on occasion, to tell you what, they had a little bit of trouble getting it out of their defensive 50. And, of course, a couple of players are just too slow and getting run-down tackles from the Lions' defence. That's good pressure inside your forward 50 from the Lions. Tell you what, you got to bring your pressure around the grounds and inside your forward 50. Whew, I tell you what, there we go. We did have the poll in here today. 84% did go for the Brisbane Lions. Well done, everyone in the chat. Congratulations. We'll get that one right again. So we have given you the matches coming up this week. We've given you these two teams who are playing next week. So that is all fantastic. Hey, all right. That's all I've got for me. So I thank everyone for coming in. Cheers, everyone. I'll put it just back to some of the commentators and they'll just have a bit of a chit-chat. They're going to have a chat about the game. So if you want to stick around and listen to that, feel free to do that. I'll stop jibber-jabber and I'll stop talking now so we can just get back to the commentators as they give their thoughts on this game tonight. But stick around if you want to listen. But for me, it's ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game tomorrow night. Hey, it's going to be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. The Gold Coast Suns taking on the mighty Magpies. All right, folks, that's all for me. Ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game. I'll take you back to the commentators a bit and stick around if you want to listen.
Orazio Fantasia, how's he doing? Because he has had a wretched run with injury.
He has, and no matter what club he goes to, he just can't seem to escape the injury curse that seems to be over his head. And yet again, a hamstring concern that saw him subbed out of the game pretty unceremoniously. So they'll get scans on that to see what the extent of the damage is. Adam Sard is tracking to be available next week, which is good news for the Blues. Harry Mackay is also getting close after that knee clean-up. Jack Silvani as well, also potential for round 19. So they could get some troops back, but they just can't seem to get everyone out there at once, but potentially 3 key-ins next week, depending on the availability.
Umpire contact, it just might go away.
Well, there were 2 really interesting cases with this, weren't there? So the first one here, this was just, I think the umpire again, Brad Scott's been going on about this last week, saying, I've told the umpires, even when I was at the AFL, I tried to get them out of the corridor. I was told, just pretend they're invisible. Not that easy when you bump into them as you did there. So that's one instance there.
Well, we sit there and say, be out of the corridor. The ball's on the boundary line, so he can't be on the boundary line. So where does he go?
This is the issue, Chase. What Greg Swan's here at the moment. He's going to be going to AFL House very soon. How's he going to fix it?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. All I know is we need to be more aware of the umpires because there's too many of them getting hit, and they're completely unprotected when that happens.
Is 4 working?
Well, I don't know. Is that the answer? I don't know. But hopefully there are people that will work this out, because we have to fix it. We can't keep having umpires getting bowled over. Now, this is a really minor. He's just standing in the wrong place, Ashcroft. And he's got a foot out. If the umpire trips over, because you've got to leave a clear path for the umpire to back after he throws the ball.
And they know this. The league has told the players, this is what you need to be aware of. And if you're not, you know where they are when they ball the ball up. And if you're not there, and if you do make contact, even if it's fleeting, you're held responsible. So a fine's probably coming his way as a result of that. That's just the reality of it.
Tricky situation for Greg Swan to work through. Zeets, we'll see you a little bit later with the rest of the rounds news. We are going to take a quick break because Chief needs to get ready for his favourite part of the day. No, it is not the press conferences, although that should be interesting. Michael Voss and Chris Fagan to front the media. But of course, what we are all staying up late for is Jason Dunstall's Trivia Night. Joey against me. It doesn't feel like a fair contest.